Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time. And so is Jaime Faria, but he's not in that video. And he doesn't make, I don't think, the list for matches of the year, despite one or two epics he was involved in Valencia a few weeks ago. But I think unofficially this is main tour matches only, much to the chagrin of Mr. Kust, perhaps.
Well, he played something in Estoril, right? He lost to Hordas
course.
Sanchez, I think, in the opening round. So, but yeah, it was not that good. So it's fine.
How are you, Vanch?
Doing all right.
Vanch had some last-minute concerns about, are we narrowing this down to 5 or what's going on? My words to you, Vanch, is you can always ask those questions on the show. It may expose us for being a bit disorganized, but hell, we are what we are. So it's fine. Yeah. And even my method of communication in terms of whether this is going to be a Twitter space as it was last year, something I think I clarified with Damien a few days ago. I know I hadn't done so with you. So don't worry, these things happen and we are live. Hi, Jake, by the way. Do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new, which of course, Jake is anything but new. We actually have a new member as well. I want to give a shout out to. Thank you, Esther, for joining the channel. You can join the channel by hitting that join button.
And a new profile pic on Gene.
Gene's got a new profile pic. Oh, yes. He's enjoying the shades, is Gene. Of course, it's midsummer in South Africa, where Gene is based. Anything but midsummer where we are based, Damien.
Definitely not. It's very dark outside my window, which actually you can see. So,
is it ever not midsummer in California, Vanch?
It's actually pretty chilly in the mornings and evenings these days. I actually have to wear
chilly, by the way, is like I'll do this in Celsius. It's probably like 15 or 20, by the way. Which
15
is like
or 20 in the day and about 8 to 10 at night.
Okay, so that is a bit cooler then. And this is probably as cold as it gets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, you still sort of have a winter of sorts. It's just all relative.
Yeah.
Welcome to the weather show, by the way, where we analyze the various months of the year and we talk about some of the weather that occurred. And of course, we do get to see extreme weather. I don't recall there being a tournament this year that was like, I don't recall like a Rome that was just ripped apart like it was in 2023. We had a few Bs on appearing in matches, of course, or one match in particular. And I saw a dog on the Challenger Tour the other day, Damien, walking across the court. I think it was in South
America.
Went
straight from one court to the other. I think Delray Beach final was on Monday. That's kind of the biggest.
But wasn't that just sort of the last day maybe that got destroyed?
Yeah. It wasn't the entire week, yeah.
Okay, so we're not here to talk about that, though, people, as you know. We are here to do something we did on our Twitter space a year ago, which is basically narrow our selections down to 7 on the WTA side and 7 on the ATP side. This year, however, we're doing 5 and 5, as Damien knows, just to make my life a little bit easier when that comes to it. But this is like the preview to that, where we probably talk about 10, 15, maybe even more matches on each side, and we try and get a conclusive 5. However, even that never works out perfectly, as you can imagine, with various dissenting voices. And so what we may well end up doing is having, I don't know, last year, for example, we had an excess of 2, I believe, and therefore we put 3 out to a poll to decide what was going to be the final entry. We may do something similar. Hopefully you can keep up, but if you can't, just try and follow along as we talk about the year. Shall we do this January to December and just talk about 1 or 2 matches that get an honorable mention during this show? Obviously, there'll be some definites, I think, as we go through the calendar year, and then there'll be some maybes. And I have a pen and a piece of paper, very old school, as we sort of narrow things down. So, shall we begin with the United Cup? I nearly called it the ATP Cup there. I saw somebody, I think it was James in the chat, mention a match between Hurkacz and Zverev, which I didn't find that pulsating, I have to say. Damien, do you remember that one?
I mean, it's actually I'm kind of struggling to understand why, because I mean it was too much points for the United Cup, right? So I guess the drama was there. But no, considering how like serve based the first two sets were, I don't really think it's a contender or of any sort. But still definitely a fine moment. It was massive. It was Zverev saving these match points, and of course Germany picking up the mixed as well. So I get why it kind of can be just mentioned, but just straight up Zverev against Hurkacz, like who enjoys that matchup?
Exactly. Who enjoys the matchup? I also recall it kind of being lost rather than won, which doesn't necessarily rule it out entirely, because if there's a lot of drama, if they kept losing it for like 20 minutes, that's fun sometimes. By the way, people of course might be thinking, well, are you doing ATP first, WTA first? I just thought we'll just do the United Cup, and then we'll probably begin with the WTA. But United Cup matches, Vanch, any that you recall that sort of stood out as an honorable mention or contender?
Not really. I did a whole list of I came up with 20 on both of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that made the top 20. So all respect to James, but I just wouldn't have Zverev and Hurkacz.
James has some very weird picks. I don't think the Stuttgart final made your top 20 either, right?
No.
Yeah, that's just...
I mean, we all have our preferences,
but that's okay. I mean, these are very much.
I mean, you'd probably find some matches from on my list if I had one, because I'm very underprepared. But you'd probably find matches on my list where James would be like, "Oh, what the hell is he talking about?" So I'm not saying it, as an insult, but I do kind of laugh at him mentioning that Draper Berrettini match every now and then.
Yeah. And he has a soft spot for Draper as well. I mean, if it was just somebody else, I don't think I would giggle so much. If it was just like, oh, well.
Oh, no, yeah. If it's a random guy, but, it's a Draper fan. So I'm like, I see why you're doing this,
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we have to acknowledge Nerland's WhatsApp, everyone, because otherwise he gets very upset. Does Nerland, if you ignore any of his messages, particularly his peculiar questions, which I'm sure we're going to look forward to here. But Nerland, if you can also throw in some of your particular favorites of the year. If I feel it's like at the right moment, i.e. if you mention a match in November, then it might be towards the end of the podcast that we bring it up. But no, James Madison probably won't be getting a mention again, Nerland, on this podcast. Vanch is wondering who the hell is James Madison. We'll tell you about that some other time. Okay, so United Cup, tick. Can we move on?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. Let's then begin with the WTA year, which, of course, when it does come to the United Cup, begins end of December. Are there any WTA tournaments that do actually start at that same time? I'm just trying to think. Brisbane and Adelaide and New Zealand.
Brisbane and Auckland, yeah.
Do they start before the year is out, do they?
Well, no, during the United Cup.
Yeah, which is 29th of December. Yeah,
well,
Brisbane. Yeah.
United Cup starts a few days ahead of the actual week. So,
yeah, although Brisbane, it does look like did start on the 31st. But anyway, we're getting distracted by stuff that... Oh, that's Brisbane ATP. That doesn't help, John, does it? Okay, listen, what about those tournaments anyway that I just highlighted in the build-up to the Australian Open? Rebecca was tearing things up, wasn't she? Go on, Vanch.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I didn't really have anything for those events either. Like if there was like a standout performance, that was the final of Brisbane, but that was more for like the like performance of the year maybe rather than match.
And it told us absolutely nothing about the year ahead, as it turned out, right?
Right.
Who would have thought that if that was a prelude to the year? I thought was Raducanu involved in a particularly epic, maybe a 7-6 third set tiebreak match, or am I imagining it in maybe in Auckland or somewhere?
I think she was, but I don't really care about that. Ostapenko Azarenka, though, that was a pretty good.
Yeah, that was one that I considered.
Yeah, I did commentary on that, I remember. The only reason why I'm kind of like not pushing for it here is that I know we are only doing 5, and basically 4 of them, I know you're going to say 2, maybe 3, but I think basically 4 of them are already fixed. So I don't think that Azarenka Ostapenko is quite that good to be in that 5th/4th spot. But yeah, I think it was a very good, like, all return battle. There was that huge sort of like a stat that Ostapenko was only losing to Azarenka for the first month of the season or something like that. So I think it was very fun, but yeah, probably not top 5 material. I was looking at that match that Gene is mentioning to
Same.
Svitolina, Auckland.
Yeah.
It was a possibility for me. It was a good one, but I don't think I don't think it would make the top 7 or 5.
I don't know how frosty the handshake was between Ostapenko and Azarenka. I mean, there was a few frosty handshakes between them this year. I don't know if that's the one that sort of does the rounds on social media that I may have seen.
It's likely.
This looks like it might be the one. Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely from that particular match in Brisbane, but I don't know if that's.
Okay.
I think it is that one, but yeah, it was obviously so. And Azarenka kind of is smirking, so for that reason alone, it deserves a mention. Sally here mentioning an epic that Raducanu had later on in the year. We'll try and come to that at some point, Sally, but make sure you hit the like button and thank you for joining. All right, shall we get to the Australian Open then on the WTA side?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Is there? I mean, listen, just before, okay, I was going to say, is there another candidate? Well, I know the obvious candidate, and I think it is a candidate. Maybe Damien thinks it's a certainty. But before we get to that, I think Iga was involved in 2 or 3 pretty special matches. Now, obviously, Kenin was straight sets, but I enjoyed it. But the real drama came particularly in her match against Daniel Collins, Vanch.
Yeah, I thought about putting that one in, but I don't think it would make the top 7. The Rybakina one, I think would. I think
that's the obvious one. That's
I don't know if it would be like 5th, but I think it would be maybe bottom 2. But we can talk about that. I think it definitely is top 7.
But is there another match before we get to Rybakina that could be a contender on the WTA side?
No, I mean the semi between Sabalenka and Goff was good, but I don't think
excellent quality, really good. Yeah, I enjoyed the quality there. But Andreeva versus Diane Parry apparently was crazy, according to Nerland.
Yeah, it was a crazy comeback, but
I just think
like these
WTA
matches against Swiatek, Noskova, Swiatek, Collins, they're fine, right? But if we keep mentioning things like that, we're going to be talking about 150 today. So yeah, I think only Rybakina Blinkova realistically is a contender. To me, it's a surefire top 5, unlike for Vanch. We're going to get to that later. I mean, we'll see what he wants to have in that top 5 instead of it. But I think, it's, Blinkova's performance of her career, obviously the super tiebreak, 22-20. That doesn't, super tiebreak. The third.
I guess the reason why I would maybe hesitate, hesitate to put it like 5 is maybe just because, like, apart from the tiebreak, nothing else was really that memorable in the match, and it didn't really have that big of an impact the rest of the tournament. Like,
yeah, but I mean, it actually had an impact because Rybakina lost.
Yeah,
Rybakina was the informed player going into the Australian Open after crushing Sabalenka in that final that we mentioned. So I believe that, yes, this was actually very impactful for the rest of the event. It basically meant that the top half ended up being kind of weird.
Yeah. And it also made the made the final as a result a little weird, if you like, in that we sort of weren't that excited about it, and we were right to not be that excited about it.
And on the women's side, by the way, 22-20 in the tiebreak. I mean,
I actually think that third set was okay. I think we did a commentary for that. And I think we started at the third set. So I think we might have been live doing something else. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to switch to, because I remember the laptop being down on a chair on my left. And I was watching that, and maybe Damien was watching another match. And then eventually we were both maybe watching probably come the tiebreak. And I thought the third set had, were there not a couple of breaks and some excitement of sorts in that third set? Maybe someone in the live chat can remind us, but I thought it was pretty cool. And because it was like, I think whenever there's like a contender for a title, that's going into a fifth or third set, especially if you're a little bit surprised, but it's also against an opponent such as Blinkova, who can just do what she did that day and hit more ins than outs, if you like, with the velocity that she does. Yeah, I'm just seeing a comment in there.
Yeah,
Which
what
has
you're
that-
saying is precisely right. This is how we watched Rybakina Brinkova, and yeah, I don't think that match is just the tiebreak either. But even if it was mostly the tiebreak, like we're gonna find some other ones later on that like are mostly a tight finish to the third set. Like that's what we're mostly referring to, and I think it's surely enough to make a short list. Is it enough to make the top 5? For me, yes, but I guess we'll get back to that later.
Sounds good. Anything you want to add to Australia or Blinkova Rybakina, Vanch?
I mean, I could think of some, but it would probably not be, it wouldn't probably, we'd probably be here forever. So
My
costume just for fun.
Oh yeah,
I thought about that. I thought about it. I was
mention
like,
it for the giggles, but I honestly
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it, despite the sort of dramatic side of it. But actually, when it got to the third set, it was just like, oh, why did we do this for the last 2.5 hours? Why couldn't? Because Goff kind of woke up a bit in the third set.
Diane Perry against Mira Andreeva was fun.
Yeah, and that's something I think that was mentioned by no less than the tennis expert, the tennis brain in a jar that is Nurlan Ramadzanov. So yeah, I actually don't remember that match.
She came back from 1-5 at the third.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, cool. Yeah, Goff, I think it was. Some people liked it, but I didn't. Okay, I think we can move on then. What I've got in my very scientific piece of paper right now is I've got definites, maybes, and 1 or 2 honorable mentions. But the honorable mentions will just happen. I don't really need to make a note of those. But I've put Blinkova and Rybakina into a maybe, although I think as the year progresses, it may well become likely, let's say. Okay, cool. Let's move on to post-Australia. Sort of Doha, I guess. What other tournaments are in that sort of period? Obviously, we've got Indian Wells, but maybe anything up until Indian Wells, Vanch.
Doha, Dubai. I guess Dubai, you had the final with Paulini and Kalinskaya, which was, I don't know, it was dramatic, but it wasn't really the highest quality at the end. I feel like Kalinskaya kind of fell off the last 4 games. It was a really awesome storyline with Paulini, obviously going, what she would go on to achieve the rest of the year. It was the start of a really awesome, really big season. But I don't think I would have any of the matches in there. I thought about, if the first. I thought about the Rybakina Swiatek, like if they had continued the kind of quality that they had in the first set, but it didn't really, the second set was more or less straightforward, so I don't think I can include that one.
Okay, Vekic Alexandrova in Linz was good.
Yeah, it's good. Actually, I was going to mention
Linz.
I was going to mention both matches actually, but again, it's like not monumental enough really to make the top 5, especially as we're limiting ourselves to 5, not 7.
Oh, I'll tell you another one that was really good. Beatrice Haddad Maya against Daria Kazakina, Abu Dhabi semifinals. But again, yeah, it's another one of those like.
I feel like they've played 50 times by now, did they?
Yeah, they played the final of Ningbo as well. But that wasn't as good.
I'm struggling to think of like which match was which.
Yeah,
which
the
one was
Ningbo match was not as good as the Abu Dhabi one.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi they played in Seoul as well, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, recently. Yeah. Pliskova had a lot of good matches in February, but again, I don't think anything makes like top 5. Rybakina, Collins, Abu Dhabi. Let me even think if I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember that one, but I don't think it was up there.
No land here. Okay. All right. Well, I think we can probably. Yeah, I don't remember much about Rybakina Collins either in Abu Dhabi. I guess we can then just get to Indian Wells and Miami. Of course, Vanch was in Miami, so maybe your memories there are a little bit stronger. But maybe let's just start with Indian.
I mean, you skipped San Diego, just to mention that, you
skipped
San Diego.
Yeah, you did. But I don't think there's an obvious one here, like there was last year with Krejcikova and Kenin. I think that was better than any of the matches.
That was an obvious one. That was a definite for last year's list. Why didn't it make it?
I don't know. Maybe Vanch wasn't on the spaces. I'm not sure. I know Jack was on that spaces for sure.
Yeah, I think it was us two and Jack, so probably that's why.
I mean, it wasn't just the 3 of us. I think we had a couple of listeners dip in and out for sure. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because that is the perfect recipe, really, Vanch, that you've got San Diego and Barbora Krejcikova all happening right in front of you.
Perfect.
I mean, if there was a mixed doubles with Nakashima involved, then that might somehow sort of round off the day nicely. But
yeah.
Yes. All right, back to 2024 anyway, and Indian Wells. For me, wasn't it just a pretty routine Swiatek going towards the title? Sabalenka got upset, of course. Was it by Navarro that beat her on the way?
But there was one really awesome match in the second round, Stearns against Sabalenka. That one I really thought about putting.
Yeah,
There
didn't
were like 4 match point saves. Both the tie breaks were absolutely epic.
I think we
Like-
give it a maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. It's definitely on the maybe. for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. I remember the match point saves.
That was the
unfortunately-
match of the tournament for sure. I don't think anything came close to that at Indian Wells.
Cool.
Yeah, because
Alright.
the Igaran was like, no one came close, so that kind of takes the excitement away from it. But Sabalenka had a few good classics for sure, and Stearns was the best one. I think it's good enough for a maybe for sure, and we'll see later.
Cool. For those of you thinking, oh, why don't we get into the nuts and bolts of it? Well, actually, because of what Damien just said, in fact, I think if it does come down to sort of 2 or 3 matches that we're trying to get on that list, if you like, so to speak, then that's when we might try and unpack some of the matches. But given that the year is long and there's been hundreds and probably even thousands of matches to comb across, we'll keep going. Miami, Vanch, talk to me.
I think there was one in particular that two actually that I really liked in Miami. That was Rybakina against Sakari in the quarters.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
And then also another Stearns versus Azarenka.
Okay. Jones Azarenka. Remind me, Vanch.
Stearns Azarenka, it was kind of on an outside court, like court 3 on like the first Friday. I don't know how many people were, as tuned into it. I was there live for it, so I guess for me it was just like, Red Foo was in the crowd and he was cheering against Azarenka. There was like a ton of drama. It was crazy. But
Who was cheering against
really
Azarenka?
Or sorry, against Azarenka, because he was in Stearns' box. And he used to date Azarenka, remember? Red Foo?
I mean, he was her friend,
No.
That was always the explanation, that he was her friend.
Oh, come on, they were flat out dating for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was sitting in Stearns' box.
James, by the way, has just joined on Instagram. James, your ears should have been burning a few minutes ago.
What's the name of the venue in Miami, by the way, now?
Hard Rock Stadium?
Yeah, so probably he was trying to come up with a hard rock anthem.
That would work, except they weren't playing in the stadium. They were playing on the outside court.
Yeah.
I tried to do something with sexy and I know it, but then I went for the other hit.
Is this the guy behind that song?
Yeah. LMFAO, I'm sexy and I know it, yeah.
LMFAO. Anyway, I think also the semis, Rybakina, Azarenka.
Yeah.
But I guess at this point, like, the question we have to ask ourselves is it as good as the previous 2 matches we had in May?
No.
To me, probably not. Yeah.
They're not. It's not as good as Stearns, Sabalenka for sure. None of them.
So Rybakina, Sakari not either, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we leave it with 2 maybes for now, yeah.
Maybes for now, yeah. Anything else about Miami before we go to Clay, I guess? All right. Clay it is. There were tournaments apparently happening outside of Estoril during the clay season, but not that I was aware. Damien was busy, of course, appearing on our TV screens as well, looking fairly chilled out.
Too. There is a photo with all of us, right?
Oh, I think so, yeah. But I think because yours was first, and in a way, I think the one with the 3 of us maybe, or maybe even 4 of us with Gokaup as well, we were maybe in the midst of a fairly sizable crowd, if you like, whereas the one with you was maybe on the Monday and you were solitary in your kind of confinement, maybe. I don't know.
Not even Monday, but it was the same day when Gasquet and Team were playing on the outside court. So a lot of the crowd that would usually be on center was trying to get there.
Sure. Gasquet Team, of course, will definitely get a mention in the... Right. Anyway, WTA clay court season. We had Charleston, of course, getting off on the green clay in North America. Vanch, anything to bring up from that particular tournament?
Charleston, I guess there was the Pegula Kazakina semi, but I don't think it was, again, like Stearns Sabalenka. I wouldn't put it in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we have obviously skipped over 1 or 2 other tournaments, but that obviously means there was nothing significant there. Go on.
I think Stuttgart had a lot of great matches, but
who sorry?
like as a tournament itself, Stuttgart was pretty good in terms of
yes.
apart from the
Yeah.
final. The final was a blowout, but
Well,
all the
yeah, it
Kostyuk matches,
was. It was. I think Kostyuk made it a bit more of a fight than actually maybe what that I mean. I just remember Rebecca trying to serve it out, and it was taking a while. But yes, let me think about some of those matches that I would have seen unfold in my very eyes. There was one at the beginning of the week. That was like going deep into the third. Oh well, what about Sabalenka against when she lost against
Vondrousova. Probably not, but there might be one of these Kostyuk matches. Like she played 3 insane ones in a row.
The one against
also
Kim was really good.
Rybakina Swiatek in the semis.
Yeah, I think not the Coco one, but the Kinwen one. That one was really good.
I think it was better. Although it is a better Kostyuk golf than the Australian Open for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think in the first round she played like Zygmunt or someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zygmunt.
Yeah, Rebecca.
It was an amazing run, but is any are any of these matches, is it enough to stand on its own?
Nothing left in the final. I mean, she was probably going to be a heavy underdog anyway, but with that, obviously, yes, Swiatek Rebecca, I think was it probably gets a mention for its quality. I would say. I mean, maybe Swiatek would say that she didn't probably play her best, but maybe we need that on the clay to have a good match. But I don't think Swiatek was off it. It wasn't like she was terrible, and I enjoyed that one very much. And yeah,
I think it maybe was like a little too serve plus 1-ish. Like, there's just a lot of fast court tennis.
Not a lot of long rallies and not a lot of like.
Yeah. But
that probably doesn't make the cut.
Yeah, in a way, sometimes. Yeah, you're probably right for that. But sometimes I think that sort of means that the players are playing well because they're not.
I'm sure, obviously, the conditions like warranted it, but that's that still doesn't make it like the Doha first set between them was better.
Yes. Yeah. Kostyuk golf, then, was that sort of the main Kostyuk one that you would think of, Vanch, or is there a?
I think it was better than the Australian Open for sure, but at times it was just it was still quite a bit messy. It was gritty and stuff, but I think the Kinwen one, the quality wise, the ball striking wise, was a little bit better, and it was more like they were playing better at the same time, maybe. But I think the golf one was just very like gritty and nerve wracking and like epic, but I don't think it was. I don't know if like the ball striking quality was as good as the Zheng one. Maybe especially the last 2 sets of Zheng Kostyuk.
But Zheng Kostyuk, again, if we put it in this sort of mini league against Blinkova and Rybakina and Stern Sabalenka, it probably doesn't quite.
No, I don't think it gets it.
No,
unfortunately.
All right. Well, Stuttgart. Your time was good, but your time is up, and we'll move on elsewhere. What would be next up on the calendar?
Madrid, right? And in Madrid, there's like 3 really good matches.
Madrid was the tournament of the year for the WTA,
only 3,
right?
Yeah, it's the best showcase of women's tennis we got all season, and I think there's more than 3 even to look at there.
For Madrid, yeah, probably actually, you're right. Because there's also the Collins.
Are we at the first? Are we at the first definite of the season, though, right? In Sabalenka?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah. That's like that's probably the match of the year.
It's not only the definite; it's what will win. 1. Sorry for spoilers.
By the way, so again, people tuning in go, I can't wait for you guys to talk about Sabalenka Swiatek in great detail. Well, you're probably not going to get to hear that here because that's actually not what we're trying to do. But you will get to hear about it in immense detail, definitely at some point in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But you'll have to wait for that particular episode because that will hone in on the match itself. Because, yes, it's going to be in the top 5. Damien, obviously, thinking top 1. And, well, we'll talk about that some other time. But, yes. Cool. So what are the maybes then? Collins against Sabalenka, Rybakina?
Collins, Danilovic, I think, also. 7-6 in the third. That was really good. Collins against... Yeah, Rybakina Sabalenka semi also.
Yeah, Rebecca. See, the problem is some of these I didn't see, but I remember that Rybakina Sabalenka semi and Sabalenka Collins in the quarter, I think it was as well.
4th round, but yeah.
Okay, 4th round, yeah. Vance, your response there probably suggests that you're a bigger fan of Sabalenka Rybakina than you are Sabalenka Collins in that tournament.
Probably because there were the last two sets were pretty epic. Rybakina probably should have Rybakina had a chance there for sure. But I actually don't think the tiebreak was like that amazing. But I think like I don't know, sets 2 and 3 were really good. The first set was like a blowout mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick here in agreement pretty much that has to be under
Yeah, I
consideration.
think it has to be considered.
Yeah, let's put it into the maybes as well, and probably that will be it from Madrid. But as everybody is saying, yeah, this was literally the best event of the season, hands down. So.
And it was so different on the ATP side as well. When we come to the ATP so shortly,
oh god, that was
basically going to go Madrid. Did that happen? Oh yeah, I remember Rafa.
I'm sure we'll be talking about Felix Auger-Aliassime playing Andrei Rublev and about the 30-minute retirement.
Well, Felix was
and
in
actually Pedro Kacin, right?
Yeah, yeah. Felix was in some matches of the year, maybe for him at least at that tournament. Although of course some of them didn't even get underway, and the ones that didn't always finish.
Errani Wozniacki? Why? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
it's an actual match from 2024,
and it's also not a match that I would necessarily sit down for with great anticipation. But that doesn't always work out that way.
Some time ago.
We've got Rybakina Sabalenka as a maybe, but as good as Rybakina Putintseva were and Collins Danilovic, are they quite as good as Rybakina Sabalenka or Sabalenka Stearns?
I think Sabalenka Rybakina is probably better.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So Rybakina Putintseva and Collins Danilovic, as honourable mentioned as they are, they're not maybes for the top 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want to do. Just want to get them off the list. Okay, Madrid, it was great knowing you, and we'll be back soon. Right, where are we at now then? Rome, are we?
Yeah. Rome, there's one I think that I thought about putting in the top 10, which was Sabalenka against Svitolina in the 4th round. It was like 3 match point saves. It was like she had like a little bit of a lower back problem, but that was when she started using the drop shot a ton, and she was like, it was kind of the match like she points to, and like when she looks back at her years, like the match she's like very proud of winning, because Svitolina in Rome is like notoriously very, very good. Like she's won 2 titles and like she's pretty good in Rome. So that had it. The only thing is the second set wasn't that great. It was like sets 1 and 3 were really good, but the second set was like so.
Any thoughts on Rome, Damien? Because I don't think that match will probably be quite in the maybes, but
yeah, I'm fine leaving that entire event off. I think Shramkova also had a couple of classics, of course. Ostapenko probably being the best one, but it's not really like.
Was there another 3-setter that Sabalenka played in the beginning? I forget. Maybe it was against Montgomery. Okay, yeah, it was against Montgomery, but I don't think it quite.
Yeah,
I don't think it was really. I don't think there was any Rome match here that was like.
Not every Arena Sabalenka match is going to be there. It was actually Katie Volinets also, which Nurlan surely remembers.
Yes. Okay, so what do we got here? Rabat, Strasbourg. I was in Strasbourg.
Clara Burel against John Silk.
Yeah. Yes.
Rabat was like the Peyton Stearns amazing comeback, right? From like 5-love down in the 3rd. One of those matches.
I mean, sounds good.
Yeah. It probably doesn't make the list. No.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a couple of classics. I can't remember who the other one was against, but yeah, it's fine to skip it anyway.
Yeah. All right, cool. Again, Strasbourg, I remember there were some nice matches there, but I don't recall there being an absolute epic that would probably be mentioned at this point. So therefore, we can move on to the second Grand Slam of the year in Paris on the dirt, of course, as the dirt season pretty much comes to an end at the French Open. French Open, first of all, I'm thinking about probably Rybakina Putintseva. That wasn't. Who did Rybakina lose to at the
Paolini, but she made like a billion unforced errors.
But obviously, we have like a definite, right? Most likely number 2 or
we've got a definite, and again, just move on almost. Osaka, Swiatek, it's on the list. There's just almost no argument about that being on the list.
I don't know if there's any other match from French Open. That's like really
Swarna
cool.
is mentioning Paolini Andrescu. I think they had a few good clashes.
Yeah, US Open was pretty good too, first round.
Yeah.
But I don't know again if it's.
But Paolini kept winning, basically.
Yeah.
So cool. Nerlan, I do hope at your age you're not having lower back issues already. I believe Nerlan's in his early 20s, but
I think Danilovic also had a couple of really good ones against Vekic and then against Collins in the second round.
Nerlan may be also writing this question for you because occasionally we call you Dr. Vanch. And so maybe he's thinking you are really a doctor and he can, just come here for a consultancy, a free consultancy, which probably doesn't happen that often in North America. Anyway, listen, French Open, are we really done with it?
Yeah, I think so.
Feels pretty quick. I mean, Danilovic deserves a mention for her clashes against Vekic and Collins.
Yeah.
It's not top 5. If we are doing a top 10,
5,
I would maybe be pushing for one of these, but
yeah,
not top 5.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch Danilovic on quite a few occasions this year. Not just some of her media duties in Australia, which tickled me, particularly one with Novak, I remember. But on the court, particularly during the clay court season, she was a lot of fun and look forward to seeing her in 2025. Maybe Danilovic can get super motivated and cause us to have another bunch of matches from her in 2025 that deserve to be on the list. But we will see. Okay, French Open. Au revoir. And a couple of 1-2-5s there. But her Libema Open, let's call it, on the grass courts, of course, getting now the grass court season underway in the Netherlands. I was there for the early stages of that tournament. A lot of excitement about Osaka and Andrescu that ended up, I don't think, not delivering. Certainly in terms of the excitement that was building up, it never quite matched that. Andrescu had a pretty good run there. Don't think there was a match there that jumped out at me anyway.
No, Andrescu lost in the final. It was a close final, 7-5 in the third to Samsonova, and then obviously they had the Osaka Andrescu, but I don't think. Yeah, I think towards the end it didn't quite deliver.
Yeah,
like it was a third set tiebreak, but it didn't really feel like it was. I wouldn't put it in there.
Yeah. I mean, I might have been for the drama and very excited that Osaka was bringing it.
The Osaka hype was pretty big then because of the Roland Garros match with Iga, right? Everyone was kind of like, okay, US Open, she's gonna win the title.
Yes. Still think that there's some good stuff going to come from her, some even better stuff from her in 2025 than 2024, but we'll have to wait a few months for that, or a couple of months at least. Somebody did mention a match in Nottingham, but maybe that's just because they are from the UK, because I think it was Bolter against Raducanu. Raducanu certainly, was involved in a few interesting matches during the grass court season.
There's a couple Pegula ones, and actually one includes Raducanu. One is the final in Berlin, which Swarna just mentioned, against Kalinskaya. That's a great comeback too, and it's probably a better one than the Dubai final, which Vansh was mentioning, where Kalinskaya just kind of choked up. I don't think that was really the case in Berlin, or at least not to that extent. And also Raducanu, right? The moment when Pegula is coming off that Berlin title and loses to her in whatever the event was in the UK. I think that's also a contender. I don't know if you guys want to put either of these as maybes. It would kind of feel good to have at least one grass court match in there.
Pegula, the Pegula Kalinskaya one we can put as a maybe.
Yeah, I would put that one ahead of that Raducanu one. But I have got a bias because I was there watching it with none other than Mario Baccardi. I agree with you that it wasn't a dramatic choke from Kalinskaya, despite the fact that she had a few chances. And yet I would still just say that, I think it was Pegula that was a bit cooler in those moments than Kalinskaya was. I think the experience helped Jessica there win that particular title as close as that was. But yeah, I'll put it in the maybes. It was fun. It was dramatic. It was exciting. Kalinskaya probably playing some of the best grass court tennis of her career. We've got Bad Homburg, and we've got, well, I think that's just about it in terms of the main tour before Wimbledon itself. I was there for the first couple of days in Bad Homburg. Yeah. Any thoughts? Or should we just get straight to Wimbledon?
I think we go to Wimbledon now.
Yeah. And then we have another definite for Wimbledon.
I like it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it is a definite. Yeah. I think some years it might move to the maybes, but I think this year, given that we've only probably got 2 definites, it's probably the strongest of all the maybes and therefore becomes a definite. And for those of you wondering which match we're referring to, it is, of course, Donna Vekic against Jasmine Paolini. A lot of, I remember that match very well. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, funny enough, I always thought that Paolini would win, despite the fact that she was, or never really felt like she had a lead in that set until she finally had a match point. But that's probably for another day in terms of the nuts and bolts. Any other match from Wimbledon?
I know some people will say the final, but no, thank you. I would even be more
No, I
likely to
wouldn't.
maybe say Krejcikova Rybakina, but again, I don't think it makes the cut at all.
No.
Yeah.
Badosa
Those 2 matches
Kasatkina
are
was a great one,
interesting.
I think.
Those 2 matches are interesting. The ones you just mentioned at the beginning there, involving
Kudermetova and Krejcikova for laughs.
How about
It's like
Badosa
Kostyuk and
Kasatkina, though?
Badosa
The third
Kalinskaya.
round. Kasatkina, the third round.
Oh
Kazatkina.
yeah. Badosa Kazakina third round is good. I don't know if it's good enough to be a maybe. Maybe I don't know. I don't think
I
it
would
was.
like it to be in the top
Yeah.
finish.
There's another
5,
Badosa
though,
match at the U.S. Open
no.
though that was probably better, right? The Rusa match against Badosa at the U.S. Open.
I would be more tempted with Badosa Kasatkina. I think a very nice clash of styles and just a overall,
true. I
grass
didn't really
giving
like
it
it.
a good vibe too.
I think we can put it in maybe.
Rusa Badosa
Really?
is more like usual, right? Like Rusa is just crushing balls. Badosa has to play defense, which he maybe doesn't do that often, but still, it's not as interesting. It's not as kind of multidimensional as Badosa Kasatkina. I would like it. Let's put it in maybe if Vansh also agrees. I want it to be there, but I don't think I will be pushing for it to get to the top 5, which, well, kind of counteracts the entire thing, but well, whatever.
Okay. Paolini Keys. The problem with Paolini Keys, Svana, for me, is that the wrong person won. And what do I mean by that? Keys was the better player. I guess there is no wrong
How
person.
dare you say that about the friend of the show?
I know. But Madison and Madison Keys is not a friend of the show, that's for sure. Really, I should be pulling for Paolini in every sense, but Keys was just the better player. And I felt after that match, I was like, okay, really nice of Paolini, but Madison, because the whole tournament had sort of opened up for her, I think, in many respects, especially knowing what happened with Rybakina later on, that maybe that was the year. And
for what it's worth, I think Keys was very close to losing in 2, right? So
yeah. But the fact that she has a double break advantage in the third, I think she gets to 4-1, and then is just paralyzed from the physical injury that she got, basically, which I forget what it was specifically, but she was just not able to move.
Ankle or something like that, like something with a leg, definitely.
Yeah, and I remember her leaving the court in tears. But for that reason, unfortunately, can't make even a consideration for the top 5. All right, Wimbledon, are we done?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to now. I guess we've obviously got to drop by the Paris Olympics, right?
Yeah. 2 really good matches there. I think one of them I'm really considering. Well, 2, yeah. Kerber.
Yeah, sorry, Ghosty, but I think one of them is a maybe for sure.
Kerber and Jung.
Yeah.
I think that one might make it. I'd push for it. Yeah. Kerber's last match, Jung ends up winning the gold. Kind of a turning point there.
It's a maybe for sure. And then at the end, we're gonna try to determine whether it actually makes the top 5 or not. But it's a maybe.
Also Kostyuk versus Vekic, but less so maybe. But still,
if it's less so, then
deserves a mention though.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not too
Kostyuk
well.
Versus Vekic. Was that the semis or was that the quarters? I think it was the quarters.
Kerber-Zheng quarter, because semi should
Kerber-Zheng was quarters. Vekic, Kostyuk was
also quarters. Yeah, also quarters. Yeah. Yes,
we got the big 3.
Semi was obviously Anna Karolina Schmidlova.
Big 3 are now in the chat with Jake, Ghosty, and Nurlan. I think Ghosty's like the godfather of the other 2, but yes, indeed. I guess that makes Ghosty like a Roger Federer, although maybe he wouldn't like to be that one. Okay. Anyway, moving on back to the tennis and back to the WTA. Yes, sorry. Were you? Did you mention Swiatek, Zhang, or?
No.
Never, not in a billion years.
No.
I mean, it's at the same level as Kostyuk Golf, more or less. So.
Yeah, a bit better than that one, I think. But yes. All right, cool.
No, I mean, come on. This was a straight setter, first of all, and it's an even worse level from one player. Like it's impossible to call this.
Swiatek was playing worse than those two.
That was the worst clay court match she's ever played in her life.
Oh, quite
definitely.
possibly.
I mean, she was. I can't even say she played it, right? She just was too nervous to play.
No.
So,
yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hard Courts North America. A tournament, of course, that also Vanch was at in Washington, which was taking place, I believe, at around the same time as the Olympics as well. Any WTA matches there, Vanch, that you'd like to bring up at this juncture?
I enjoyed Badosa Raducanu. I don't think it would make it, but it was entertaining, fun match.
Okay.
Good story, but yeah, I don't think any of them were like really. I don't think any of the lead-up tournament matches were as good as the U.S. Open ones.
I have missed Prague and Budapest, by the way, which were both 250s, and Palermo, but yeah, nothing to report from there. I think
we'd stop you if there was something really important there.
Okay. Anyway, so Canada this year was in Toronto, I believe. I often get those two confused, but I think it was in Toronto. Yes, it was. And yeah, anything from there?
I'm trying to think if there was a good Anisimova match in that week.
And Washington as well. Yeah, like she was kind of the story of these 2 weeks. I just don't think there was something that we can really, potentially make a case for.
Yeah, it feels like she was the story of that week, even though Pegula won.
Yeah, she was crushing everybody in Toronto until the final, I think, more or less. And then also Washington, I think she had a couple of good matches, but it's nothing like top 5-ish.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
cool.
I watched her beat Pavlyuchenkova in Washington, and then she lost to Dolehide in the quarters, I think.
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati. I guess there was Pegula Fernandez. That was pretty fun, but I don't think it was super high quality. It was pretty patchy, actually.
Yeah.
Make a case for Andreeva Swiatek maybe, but nah.
I could, yeah, you could actually, but I don't know if it was.
You could, and it's certainly worth being mentioned. But again, when you just sort of suddenly look back at the matches we've got on the maybe list already, it probably doesn't quite doesn't sort of make the top 2 or 3 on that list, I don't think. But it was exciting.
Yeah, I think we just skip to the US Open, to be honest, unless there's something I'm forgetting about in like Cleveland. But well, if there was a dramatic match in there, like I don't see how it would be monumental enough.
Okay, New York US Open. Hit me with your rhythm stick, somebody.
I mean, obviously the final was really good, right? Is that
yeah, it was
good. Sabalenka straight sets for final, but still very, very high quality.
Good. I guarantee if that was and I know this does change and it does matter, but if it was any other round at any other tournament, it wouldn't even probably get a mention. But
yeah,
but it is the final.
It does make a difference. I don't think we should put it down even as a maybe, but it was definitely the best final of the season. I think.
I think so. I think it was. I think it was a very good final. I think it was very high quality.
Quality, yes, but I still think Wimbledon, just because
Zhang versus Vekic was really good. The only thing about that is like, yeah, I mean, is that really because it finished super late in the night? And I do know the third set was kind of
about that. Yeah,
I think the third set of it wasn't as good as people are saying. Like I went back and I watched the end of the third, and it was a 6-2 third, and I don't think like the last 3 or 4 games were really like that great. I mean, the standard was pretty good the first 2 sets. I don't know if it was really. I wonder if that's a little bit overhyped.
And that's the problem, Vanch. When you have a match, it's better to have the last 4 games amazing and the first 2.5 sets trash than the other way around.
I did really like the semi, though. I know, I really liked the semi Mukhova and Pegula.
Yeah, I liked it, but
I don't think it was top 5.
Yeah,
could be a maybe, but I don't think it was.
No, I think the US Open is just escape, to be honest. There were decent matches there, definitely, but nothing.
Except for the final, right? Except for the final, I think it was.
But we're not mentioning that as a top 5 contender, right?
I thought we were.
No.
I would say
No?
no. Yeah.
No, Vance.
I mean,
I mean, there's like,
John
there's like
John
4
hates the
definites for
match.
me, and then I don't know
John
what the.
hates the match, and
first
he keeps
definite
telling
is.
me that I shouldn't like it this match. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. It was the best Grand Slam final of the season, but was it a top 5 match? No. And Vansh really likes it, but unfortunately, democracy, you as an American living in California, you need to know it.
I wonder what
Two,
was. I
it's
wonder
better
what
than
you
one.
had number 5. Are we really gonna go with the Rybakina tiebreak? Is like the 5th.
I mean, that's number 4.
Rebecca Blinkovic is definitely ahead.
I have
of
a different number 4.
What?
Sabalenka.
Which
Well,
one?
at the moment, we've only got 2 definite.
WTA. I think the WTA finals final was.
Well, we'll just wait, and I think we'll have an interesting discussion about that, and it might end up lasting hours. So
I think that was one of the. I think that was like.
got it,
really
Vanch, hold.
So overhyped. The most overhyped
Okay.
match of the season.
Damien,
I disagree. I
Vanch.
disagree. It was.
Democracy also means that there has to be some sort of judiciary, and the judiciary is me, which is not democratic at all, because I'm just saying it right now off the top of my head, which does sound like a dictator. And we're in September, people. I don't know if you know, but September is before November in the calendar that was also invented. But yeah, indeed, yeah. So cool. But I'm looking forward to that chat very shortly. Tunisia, no. Mexico, no, I think. Right? Are we getting are we just basically going straight to Beijing?
I guess I don't even know if there was one in Beijing.
I mean, obviously, what about Goff Sabalenka? Was that Beijing?
No, that was Wuhan, but I don't think either.
Wuhan, okay. Yeah.
Sabalenka Muchova, you were very hyped for that match, Vansh.
I was hyped for it. It actually was good, but towards the end,
in the US Open final.
I think after the first set there was quite a big drop off, though, right? For like most of the next 2 sets.
Was there for the third though? I don't know.
There was.
I'm fine with calling it a maybe, but if you guys don't want to, then
I'm also fine with it not being on the list. But I don't know how. I don't know how I can put Pegula.
I think you can.
My vote goes for it being a maybe. Muchova, Sabalenka, Beijing quarterfinals. If it's not,
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I can even put it as a maybe. Yeah,
let's put it as a maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Ningbo, Osaka, Wuhan, which I just touched upon. Anything else in that Asian swing, Vanch? Chengdu, Tokyo.
Don't have anything from those.
Me neither.
Some people are putting the Wuhan final on the list.
Wuhan final was
maybe, but it wasn't really ever in doubt that Sabalenka was going to win.
No. Yeah, Sabalenka, you mean Zheng, right?
No, Sabalenka in the final. I mean, Zheng made it really close and competitive, but I don't think it was like.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Sabalenka Zheng that final, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
but
I'm fine with either decision you guys take. I think it won't make the top 5, but is it as good as some of the maybes that we have? I think so.
I don't think so. I don't think it was. I mean, you can put it in there, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, it won't make the top 5. So I guess it doesn't need.
Sabalenka Muchova is probably a little better than that one, but yeah.
If Sabalenka Muchova is a little bit better, then we'll leave it at that one. We don't need more, maybe, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess now we are already very quickly into November, our favorite time of the year in terms of this particular debate, because I think probably we've only got one debate left, have we? I guess, and that's that match that Vance just mentioned. And that is Coco Gauff against Qinwen Zheng, which I think Vance and I, at least the third set, maybe the whole match. Did we do the whole match together, Vance, or just the third set? I can't remember.
It was all 3 of us.
Yeah, but then Damien had to leave for table tennis.
Damien left, that's right.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was just
left for table tennis, so you missed the best part.
Yeah, I remember Zheng sitting down and saying to Vance, "Do you think she'll see this out?" And he went, "Yep." And I went, "Yeah, I think I felt good that she would." And obviously didn't. The reason why I think Damien doesn't want this on the list, and probably why at the time in particular I was thinking to myself, oh, that was fun, that was dramatic. It was sort of also a Zheng little collapse, and I felt very bad for her. And the quality, Vanch, I mean, you and I were talking about this. I think it was forehand where she was just spraying. Coco Gauff was just waiting for the error because it was always about to come. And once she saved it again and got back into it, but then also the tiebreak was not. It wasn't blink of.
Yeah, I agree. The tiebreak was a bit of a letdown. That's definitely true.
And I
So
think
what was good about that match then? Like, if the tiebreak was a letdown, then what was good about that match?
I think the tiebreak didn't deliver, but some of the rallies, I mean, some of the I don't know, like just some of the court coverage, some of the really, really long rallies they were doing, like how physical it was, like how much of a mental battle it became at the end. And then also Zhang like did really well to save the first 2 match points. And then by the time she got to the tiebreak, then she just didn't play a good tiebreak. But I wish people remember like the period from like 3-all in the third till the end of the.
I think we do.
That was really good.
I think listen. I do remember it pretty well because I was with you, and that period of the match elevates it to some extent, but it also brings it back down because it elevates it because it was quite dramatic. Zheng goes to break up. You're thinking, wow, she's really shown great mental strength to recover and get like that advantage. She then just, it was just a tough watch. And you saw her at the end of the match when she's lost it. And, she shows her emotion on her face, if you like, because you can just see how annoyed she is that title that should have been hers. And it was dramatic, but the quality in that between the 3-3 and 6-all was it was interesting and fascinating and dramatic. But it is also largely about what we all remember is that 5 or 6 games in the second half of that set.
I guess so, but also the first 2 sets, like, there were periods of like 6 games in both of those sets that were very good. Except for the end of the first, I think Coco fell off a little bit. Then like middle part of the second, Qinwen fell off a little bit.
Look how happy Zheng is to get that runners-up trophy. By the way,
oh yeah,
she's delighted to be there. Bless her. Well, I tell you what, I'm more than happy to write it on the list, but I'm also going to be pushing for it to not be in the top 5. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm okay with it being a maybe. Like, I'm not gonna disagree with that. I just think it's comically overhyped just because it was the last match of the season and because there was like a dramatic 15 minutes to end it. But overall, I just don't think it stands up to the other matches that we have there at all.
Yeah, I also think perhaps, although there were some intriguing matches in that tournament, but around that time of the year, probably we weren't getting a huge amount of exciting matches on either side of the tour. So
it's a lot of recency bias too.
Yeah,
I think
suddenly when we get one, we get probably quite excited about it. So that is that. We now have only, as far as I'm aware, we've only got 2 definites. Am I right on that? Sabalenka Swiatek and Osaka Swiatek?
3, right? Because also Vekic.
I disagree with you, but I mean,
no, we have got Vekic Paolini as a thing.
3.
As I say, for me, that makes it primarily just because it is clearly the best of the maybes.
You know what? I wouldn't mind the Olympics, the Kerber Vekic, if that makes sense.
Kerber Vekic.
Sorry.
We should do Kerber, Zheng, and Rybakova, Blinkova in the top 5. I think that's the top 5.
Was there anything that great about that tiebreak? I mean, it was very long. It was very dramatic.
Yeah, it was insane winners everywhere.
The umpire was laughing. I remember. I guess
the point where Rybakina stretches to the forehand volley. There was a lot of incredible stuff in that breaker. Just rewatch it, and I think you'll agree.
Okay.
I
agree about the breaker, but
2 weeks ago, or pretty much, or even longer than that, whenever these discussions started happening, I was already, quickly just going, well, okay, these 2 matches will obviously be there. Yeah, Wimbledon semi-final, all right, yeah. And then I was like, Blinkova Rybakina at least has to come into the discussion. And then it's like, actually, given the competition, probably it does make the top 5. And I think of all these maybes I'm looking at, Blinkova Rybakina over Gauff and Zheng is just a no contest for me.
Okay.
John, how glad am I right now that you exist?
I think we probably have the 7
on this occasion.
I think
Go
we
on,
have
Ben.
the 7 that we want, or maybe
Well, we don't want. Ideally, we want 5. To be honest with you, but
Only
if
5.
we have, listen, I would like at least 4 definites, so that way, if we did put one out to a poll, then
Okay.
then yeah. So of course, I am pushing for Blinkova Rybakina.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we
if
can.
if we put it to a poll, Goff and Zhenk are going to win because,
Well, I
as you
wouldn't
can
put
see,
Goff
that
and
match
Zheng
is
in the
getting so
poll.
much
I
hype.
wouldn't.
I feel like the US Open final and the year-end championship final are still like top 7 worthy, you know?
But we don't want. I want
Maybe,
top
but
5.
we're only doing 5 because it's too much work.
And then
I'm laughing, but it's true.
I think Kerber Zhang should be top 5.
Yeah, I think we agreed on that. Like, basically, at this point, if our top 5 was going to be Swiatek Sabalenka, Swiatek Osaka, Vekic Paolini, Rybakova Blinkova, and Kerber Zheng, I'm random order.
I just think many people
totally
would
satisfied
not
with all
like.
of this. Basically,
I think so many people would just massively disagree with us if we don't put the US Open final and year-end championship final.
So what?
Yeah, and I don't. Maybe the year-end championship one is, but I think you're overestimating. No, I don't think that many people would be pushing for the US Open final.
Yeah, US Open final, definitely. I think nobody would bat an eye.
Maybe some people smoking stuff in a cave in somewhere where they smoke in caves. I don't know. Let me know in the live chat. Do people smoke in caves? Let me know. Listen, Goff Zheng for me. Well, okay, let's just come back. Mukova Sabalenka, nice match. Not in this final discussion for the top 5.
Yeah, basically, which match of these that we have as maybes would you like above Muchova? Not Muchova. Would you like above Rybakina Blinkova in that top 5? Like, what's the counterpoint?
The 2 you just mentioned, right, Vanch? No.
Yeah, I know what Vanch wants, and he's not gonna get it.
Stern Sabalenka, Indian Wells.
Stern Sabalenka, I think, stays in the debate, but I would like to say goodbye to some.
I think Stern Sabalenka was better than Blinkova.
What about? I want to say goodbye to some of these. What about Badosa Kazatkina at Wimbledon? Can I say goodbye to that?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm fine with leaving the US Open final out. Actually, I don't think it's
great.
quite.
I would like to say goodbye to that one. If I didn't even say hello
you
to
can
it.
say goodbye to that one. Yeah, US Open final. We can. Say
Sally, really? You think the US Open final on the WTA sucked? On the ATP, like, hence, 100%. It was awful. It was horrifying. It was
ATP sucked. WTA was way better. Yeah,
but WTA,
US Open,
really solid final. Best of the
maybe
season.
Sally just thought that Sabalenka would always win, and she did. Cool. Anyway, so right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 6 still on my list of maybe 6 into 2 won't go. Now, what I would like to do is like, and by the way, one of those still is Goff and Zheng, which is obviously being shared on the screen right now, but I just can't see Goff and Zheng.
That's kind of my point, Gene. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, but then what do you remember memorable from, like, I don't know, Paolini Vekic, aside from the last 15, 20 minutes? Like, this goes for all matches, really.
A lot of matches. But the other thing I would say about
the second set was really good, Paolini Vekic. And then, like,
and the second set of Rybakina Blinkova was really good too. Like, that's no argument.
Just quickly, just 1 second. I've got a very strong argument for this. When you say there was not much in that match apart from the tiebreak, and the tiebreak was 18 points, for example, or 16 points, or whatever, for example,
in this case.
with no more, it was 42 points.
John is just proving that,
so it's like we're talking about probably a third of the match or something. I don't know what it was, but I mean, obviously there weren't so many breaks.
Over half an hour, I think, right?
Yeah, so and that's half an hour of just being on the tennis court. Bearing in mind you're just changing ends every now and again. It's not like you're having a minute and a half between games or anything. So it's probably, in terms of points actually played and shots made, it's probably a good chunk of that match, maybe a third, maybe more.
Okay.
So,
and in terms of the unique factor of it as well, like,
quality as well was pretty good, and
quality was amazing.
Third set was not that bad either, and I think it wasn't the third set until I joined. I think the reason people are saying that they don't remember much else in the match is because it was such a bloody long time ago. No, and I don't mean January. I mean January as well, but I also mean the fact that even at the end of the match, it's like, when you start watching,
it's a little overhyped. I wonder if it's a little overhyped just because of the length.
I don't think it is overhyped. I think the other matches that we're talking about.
I think it's underrated. In fact,
I think
because it
underrated.
was in January. I think it's
As a
underrated.
storyline, I
Yeah.
get that Rybakina lost, and that's big. But like for the rest of the tournament and for the rest of the year, it doesn't really mean anything. Whereas like the other matches, it's like more of a narrative and story, you know.
Even if Nick is right about that final set before the tiebreak being a mess, then that just adds another layer to it. I mean, I just remember it being quite interesting. I don't remember about the quality, but if you said a match, by the way, had a third set and it was a mess, and then it went to a tiebreak and the quality was insane, but also went 22-20. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you could.
This isn't Opelka Isner 22-20. You know.
No, it's not. No. Jake is with Van. She's afraid, which obviously means he's not a big fan of Blinker for Rybakina. I don't know. I just don't know.
I'll go back and watch the tiebreak, but I remember watching it back, and I remember like not being that impressed, except for that one point that you talked about. I remember.
And yet you were impressed with Zheng Golf. I mean,
and you and I were watching Zheng Golf. And we were. It's funny. Vanch and I were in complete agreement about everything that happened in that match as it happened. Because we never talked about it being a potential match of the year. It was just, yeah.
I think we did though, right? Remember we saw all those tweets and everybody was like going crazy over it.
We might have said it like maybe. You mean like days later or on the show itself?
No, during the match there were a lot of tweets,
no, during the
and
match,
I remember us sitting there and
thinking,
what are these people talking about? How is this the best match of all time?
The problem with this is there's only one women's high-profile tennis match happening at that exact moment, so everyone on Twitter was watching it. Third round of Australia, which I think was Blinker back in third round.
Second.
Second.
I know what you mean, but still, like everybody tunes in by the tiebreak.
They do by the tiebreak, but I also think they missed something else before that. But
yeah, 100%. I think that's just watch the tiebreak. Even I understand that the match is not about the tiebreak, but the tiebreak is 35 minutes, so it's a large chunk of that match, and there's a lot more contenders that we're mentioning based on chunks of 35 minutes ish. To me, it's a top 5 contender. As I said, I would be satisfied if this and Kerber Zheng were our last 2 picks, but let's see what else we have there.
Yeah. I guess we say goodbye to Pegula Kalinskaya, because if Pegula Kalinskaya had a cousin on this list, you know, because it was quite dramatic, third set tiebreak, then it probably would be Blinkova Rybakina, and I watched.
Yeah, I would pick Blinkova Rybakina over.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah,
I think
we can just cross it out now. Yeah.
Yeah. One's Australia, of course, and one's Berlin 500, so that helps maybe a little bit. Rybakina Sabalenka was obviously Madrid semi-final. What about Rybakina? If we looked at Stearns Sabalenka in Indian Wells, Rybakina Sabalenka, and Kerber Zheng in Paris at the Olympics, if you could say goodbye to one or two of those matches,
I would say goodbye to the Madrid. Yeah, I would say goodbye to Madrid semis. Yeah,
good.
It's great. It's just tough first set. Actually, first set and a half were so lopsided, and then I don't know, it just gets overshadowed by the final. I'm sorry, but that's the case, really. It doesn't have to be
slightly overrated.
Thing, right? We theoretically should look at these in a vacuum, but I don't think we are capable of doing that. Also, Nick, could you explain this? Actually, could you elaborate on this? Because you're saying that the Blinkova-Rybakina match is better for the significance of it, and actually Vanch said that it's like insignificant. So could you elaborate why it's so significant? I'm interested to know.
I mean, he just means Grand Slam compared.
Probably the Rybakina being the contender. That's the significant.
Yeah, I wonder what he means, because it's compared to the WTA finals final, right? So it's I don't know if I agree with the point that Nick makes, but I do agree that it was significant.
Because we're at this point.
You see, it was both significant and insignificant. It was significant because Rybakina lost. It was insignificant in the larger context of the.
That just adds another layer to it. Yeah, Rybakina losing that match was like the most sort of earth-shattering moment of the women's tournament, I guess. Maybe now Swiatek going out as well, I guess, certainly raises a few eyebrows.
It's a historic moment as well, in a way, right? Like whenever we see a match tiebreak like this, we're gonna be talking about Rybakina Blinkova for the next 15 years, to be honest. So I don't know.
It may grow. It may grow, actually. If it's been forgotten because it was in Australia, it may come back again and grow in the years to come. Longest tiebreak in Grand Slam history. Well, yeah, there we go. So, if it was just me, if I was on my own, just doing all of this, I would have my list of Sabalenka Swiatek, Osaka Swiatek, Vekic Paolini. I would add Blinkova Rybakina to that in the 4th spot, if you like. And I would say this: I don't know Kerber Zheng or Stearns Sabalenka for the 5th spot. So I would then come to you. And then if you guys couldn't sort it out, I would then go to a poll. But actually, I'm also fine if we can sort it out here before going to a poll. And I am therefore pushing Goff and Zheng. I mean, Vanch, what about this? Goff and Zheng in that WTA finals, or Kerber and Zheng at the French Paris Olympics?
I would go with Kerber Zheng.
Right, that helps. That helps a lot. Because if you're putting Kerber and Zheng ahead of Goff and Zheng, and I am as well, and I'm presuming Damien is too.
Sabalenka as a match was really, really good too. So
Stearns Sabalenka.
Yeah. But then also my point about the significance, if I apply that to this as well, then I probably would. I think you have to put Zheng, and I think you have to put the Zheng match in the top 5. I think you do. Yeah.
So I mean, and look, Gene is saying it's great too. I'm pretty much set on the 5.
As I said, this is the top 5. Like a minute ago, I said that if this is the top 5, I'm 100% satisfied with it. So.
And then 6 and 7, we would have Stearns, Sabalenka, and WTA finals final, right? Okay.
Yeah, but we're not doing 6 and 7. But if you really want to, yes.
Why don't we just do 7? Why don't we expand the top 5 to top 7?
Because every single match gets an individual episode, which will last like 40, 50, 1 hour, and it takes a lot of editing.
Yeah, I let me tell you this. It does take a lot of editing, but it'll also take even a bit less than last year because I'm not going to put in as big, but I'll still put in an effort. I mean, one hour episode will probably take with a basic edit will take 3 hours. The amount of effort I put in last year took 5, and nobody seemed to not you guys, but I mean, it wasn't like suddenly, we were getting 10,000 views for some of these.
What you could do is you could do 4 episodes. You could do like the number 1, the match of the year, Sabalenka Swiatek, that gets its own episode, and then you do 2, 3, 1 episode, 4, 5 another episode, and then 6, 7 another episode. You have 4 episodes.
Yeah, but again, each episode will be much longer, Vanch. You put 2 45-minute episodes together, and it's an hour-and-a-half episode, so it doesn't really matter. Well, we'll talk about this some other time. We're not having 7 anyway, I don't think. So yeah, I'm happy to go with Kerber Zheng.
Yeah, and in terms of like actual ordering of these, if you want to say that Rybakina Brinkova is 5th, I don't mind that at all. Personally, I would have it at 4, maybe even 3, but 5 is perfectly fine for me too. Just the selections that we've had so far, I'm 100% for them.
No way to package Paulini.
What I might do is for the top 5 order, because I'm not really that bothered about the top 5 either. I'm only concerned about the top 2 and then the next 3 in a way, and I don't really mind. I'd be, if you put Vekic Paulini at 1, I'd be like, no. But
yeah, I mean, top 2 is fixed. After that, I'm just trying to say that I'm more like, I don't care about the ordering. Like, as long as these 5 matches are in the top 5, I am perfectly fine with whatever you do there. Obviously not whatever, because again, Kerber Zheng or Vekic Paulini should not be number 1. But, you know, in the sort of like grand scheme of things, I'm just more invested in getting that to the top 5, Brinkova, Rybakina, rather than the position of it.
Me too. All right. I think we've got our 5. Sorry, Stearns Sabalenka.
Gonna be tougher on the men's, so we might need the poll on the men's. I'm not even saying some of us will be invested in the matches.
When you say we might need the poll, do you mean like Hubi Hurkacz or?
No. Not Hubi Hurkacz, not Tomasz Wiktorowski, who should be ashamed according to Nurlan.
There's pretty much 2 for sure. Like there's pretty much 2 that we'll agree on for the men's.
Just quickly, Vanch, I don't know if you've unplugged your microphone in the last 2 minutes or so. It just sort of went from being. I mean, I can still hear you okay, but just so you know, it didn't sound as crisp.
Yeah.
Okay, that's back now.
There we go. Better. Thank you.
It's better now.
So, yeah, great. Let's move on because this is obviously a lengthy episode, as we can already see, 1 hour, 15 minutes on the clock. It might well go beyond the length of that Rybakina Blinkova match, which I guess was well over 3 hours. I don't know exactly how long it was, but yes. All right. ATP then. I think we already touched on the United Cup, and as we had that honorable mention, I think, for Zverev against Hurkacz, but we're not talking about that being a contender. So, anything before Australia? Thompson Nadal I sort of enjoyed, but I'm not saying it's a.
I enjoyed it, but
yeah.
No.
Nadal obviously not converting match points, doesn't happen very often. So, yeah, Thompson played a really good 3rd set there as well. Although obviously I think what's the name? And that was a bit hampered at certain points. But let's move on from
was
that.
Actually I just want to say that, like, Nick, that was actually kind of the goal, though. Like, we were expecting to have about a top 10, top 15 of contenders, and then narrow it down. Like, we weren't going instantly for that top 5. But yeah, it's tough.
I mean, actually, the thing is, Nick, that is basically the whole show. The whole show is basically we need to get that sort of 8 matches that we all want to squeeze into a top 5, and there's already 3 of those berths already taken, and that's where the whole volcanic thing occurs. Anyway, by the way, those of you tuning on YouTube, do hit the like button and subscribe. And you're very lucky because last year we did this on our Twitter Spaces, and this year we are, of course, live on Twitter, but we are also bringing it to YouTube, Twitch, and elsewhere, including Instagram. So ATP, that's already Evo Hatchinoff, and I think Gene is saying, please don't, in response to that match. Well, we'll get to that one. I don't know if you can see the emoji there. We'll get to that because that's comes.
Best comeback of the year.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed it. For various reasons,
there are a few problems with that match, but I think we'll be talking about it at least. So don't worry, Ghosty. We will be mentioning in due time. I think we can honestly skip straight to Australia right now that I'm looking at it. I don't know if you had anything, Vansh, on your top 20 list.
No, not from pre-Australia. Okay. Australia I do, though. Yeah, but not really.
Yeah.
I mean, you had in Australia some 5-setters that were sort of, they were sort of good, but also sort of bad. I'm thinking Zverev, Medvedev. I'm thinking.
Well, I actually don't know why that 5-setter is bad in any way.
Yeah, I agree with Damien. I think I would have that in my top. I think that deserves to be in top 5 because of the sort of the drama, the 2 sets still have come back, but also the quality was pretty good. Like, I do remember. I'm usually hate Medvedev's Zverev, but like that one was pretty good.
Same point. Yeah, I hate this matchup, but I actually enjoyed this one. I think the comeback made it so exciting.
Pushing for it, but honestly, it was really good.
I mean, you did have that amazing drop shot return.
Yeah. It had a lot of drama. It had the comeback. It had some incredible points. I think Zverev wins the second set with like this crazy 40-shot rally with a drop volley.
I mean, I watched it, but
he was 2 sets full of up, and I think that makes the match as well. I think that was by far the best Medvedev-Zverev match we've ever had.
I think
and it deserves to be a maybe.
Was way more watchable. Zverev is actually in quite a lot of big matches this year when it comes to.
He will be mentioned a few times here, yeah. I agree. Yeah. And I think this is a maybe.
If you're not a fan of Zverev, the good news is I think he loses most or all of these.
That's actually true.
Yes.
3 matches that I can remind, he lost them all.
Yeah. So, yeah. And maybe that also gives us a little clue into, well, not that we needed many clues, but also into the psyche of Alexander Zverev. Okay. Any definites in Australia?
I think that's the best match from Australia. So if we're putting it as a maybe, there isn't going to be any definites.
I wouldn't put the final. I wouldn't put the final. I know some people will, but I don't think I would.
No, the final again. It's so when I started to sort of say about this Medvedev run, where obviously there was so many lengthy matches. Who was it? Medvedev beating 5 sets in sort of round 2 or 3.
Rusevori,
yeah.
Hurkacz in the quarters.
Hurkacz in the quarters. All decent matches. I just don't think. I think this is really the bad.
And then also the final was again a little bit of a painful match to watch.
It was 2 matches in one, so I don't see how that would be.
From the moment, exactly. From the moment Sinner gets a foothold in that match, despite being well down on the scoreboard, I just couldn't. Every time I was like, I can't see Medvedev winning this, and he didn't get any closer. Really.
There was only one point for Sinner where Medvedev had the break point and then Sinner aces him down the tee. That was the only moment.
Did he have a break? I remember, was there a deuce as well? Maybe at like 4-all in one of the sets.
It was like 3-all, 30-40 fourth set, and then Sinner hits an ace down the tee.
He only had the fitness for like 2 sets of playing this ultra aggressive tennis, and then when Yannick turns it around, so it's just a match of like 2 sides. They're never peaking at the same time. I don't think it's that good. But actually, what I want to mention is that the ATP put out their own lists of best ATP matches of the year and Grand Slam matches. And ATP is pretty sound. Maybe, actually, it's Zverev Hurkacz at 5, by the way, but other matches we'll be mentioning. Actually, they have Tsitsipas Sinner at Monte Carlo, number 3. So that's weird to me already. But the Grand Slam matches is like completely, Grand Slam top 5 is completely deranged. So at number 1, you have Djokovic Musetti. And then at
No,
number
come on.
Djokovic
That's
was
number
ready
one.
for Open
That's
French
number
Open.
one? Wait, that's number one?
number one, best Grand Slam match
No,
of
come on.
2024. And number two is the Australian Open final. So I just wanted to mention that this is an absolutely horrible list to me.
No.
I think
Yeah,
their
that-
number
also that-
5 pick is fine. We're going to mention that match. Number
Tsitsipas
3
match
is
was-
definitely fine.
By the way, I think
but
the Musetti match is really overrated. This Rondo one was better. But anyway.
The Tsitsipas
I mean-
one as well. When a player's hampered like that, it's no fun.
you've got 3 good sets with Djokovic Musetti, right? But after
That's
that,
true,
it's just
yes. But after that,
steamrolling.
it's just the last 2 sets were done.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
To have it at number 1 is just insane. But I'm glad that the ATP Tour matches of the year list is a bit better because I hadn't seen it before now. I only saw that Grand Slam list. Although number 3, Tsitsipas Sinner Monte Carlo, that's also wild. But anyway, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Who came up with those? I don't know, actually. You can just... I think it's probably going to be like staff on the ATP website. So I don't think it's going to be... They probably had something like this, right? Some sort of a debrief, and they just managed to come up with this.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like, dude, just go and write this, can you? All right.
So one is credited as ATP staff. That's the ATP Tour matches of the year. So that's the one that's more sound. And the Grand Slams, it is credited by someone like Arthur, whatever. I don't know, someone. Arthur Capet.
I also, by the way, and listen,
maybe,
you guys
okay,
maybe know more, but maybe you know more about this than I do. But even ATP staff still might just be somebody writing it, but then maybe they're not a permanent member, or
of course.
Yeah. So I bet they're not. As
Probably
thorough as-
wasn't Jerome. I don't think it was Jerome.
Oh yeah, right, Jerome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because I know what the Guardian do with football, for example, when they're making some predictions. They will actually sort of say, you know, our 5 journalists went for this, this, and this, and then the accumulation and the whatever the average meant that this finishes 4th or 3rd or 2nd or whatever, which is a bit better.
My
but anyway,
favorite prediction moment, by the way, just a slight side note, when there was Roland Garros, maybe 2021 or something like that, and ESPN had this roundtable article, and they were asked to pick a winner, and Cliff Drysdale says that Daniel Medvedev is a clay court artist. I mean, in a way, maybe he is, you know, amazing Rome 2 years later, right? Maybe he just saw the future, but still to say that at the time, wow, that just shows you a very special level of not following tennis. No offense to Mr. Drysdale, great tennis player in the 70s, but wow.
Yeah. So of course I have to share an image on the screen right now. Just a second.
It's funny.
So yeah, cool. We'll share that on the screen for the foreseeable future, even if it was very much from the past in terms of 2023. So post Australia, we would have had Rotterdam. We would have had the clay court Golden Swing season, which I remember for Moutet against Nicolas Jarry, but maybe more for the shenanigans and the off-court stuff and the on-court stuff. There was plenty of drama there. Obviously, Jarry, the local man, losing in his backyard to Moutet. Anything else from that period? Rotterdam, I don't remember really much at all about. Maybe there's a good
Felix
reason.
Cressy. I mean, it's not going to be a maybe even, but it was good. Or
the best match Dimmador played against Sinner in their rivalry so far. He won 9 games.
Still.
Yeah, still not. Montpellier was really good in that Bublik storyline, right? I mean, he became the first player to win a tournament by winning every single match from a set down. But I think it kind of has that issue where, like, if we were able to put these 4 matches in one, then sure. But any individual one, maybe the one against Shapovalov, but still not good enough to make the top 5 now.
Damien, I've got one from Rio.
That
I think is going to make the top 5.
I know already, yes. Monteiro Alcaraz. Amazing. Definite.
Vaj, what do you think about Monteiro Alcaraz in Rio?
Amazing match that lasted 1 point.
I think
like
one
8,
game.
10, something like that.
I think it was 2 games, but obviously like 1 point.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the third game. But still, Thiago Monteiro, 4 top 10 wins in a row.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he also beat Tsitsipas in Madrid, right?
Tsitsipas in Madrid. He beat Ruud at Davis Cup in 2023, and he beat Ruud in Bostadt.
Took longer to organize this photo than the actual match itself did. And I'm just guessing there. Just sometimes those photos take a while to get set up because people get confused about where they should be standing. And I have absolutely, and I do apologize to the man in the middle, I have no idea who he is. Cool. Anyway, any other match from that period of the year till we sort of probably do get to Indian Wells? No. Dubai, no. Acapulco. Acapulco had a match or two of interest, right?
It's kind of funny because we
More
already are
fun matches.
struggling to come up with something, right? And then I didn't know that it was going to be quite like this. I know that there are like far fewer definites on the ATP side, but you know,
We've
it's
only got one
February.
maybe so far. We've only got one
Yeah.
maybe. And we don't have any.
This wasn't a great year for best men's matches.
I think in Rotterdam there was also Griekspoor again. Like he just always delivers insane matches in Rotterdam. You know, the one against Musetti, the one against Hurkacz. I think these were back to back. But again, would I be pushing for it to be in the top 5? No.
Nope.
Okay, cool. So, Ozan here telling me on Twitter who that is in the middle. John Cena. I'm not familiar with John Cena, but anyway,
You
that
don't
could
know
be
John Cena? Really?
John Cena.
He's a wrestler. Anyway, probably the most famous in the world. Anyway,
What about
maybe
this
Doha,
Bruno in
Menchik
Acapulco?
Rublev? How about Menchik Rublev in Doha quarters?
Good win for Menchik. Yeah. And
Yeah,
we've got
good
Rude
win.
versus Bruno in Acapulco.
Wait, was that straight sets? Menchik versus Rublev? I think it was 4 and 6, right?
Yeah, 7-6, 6 in the
Yeah, no, Menchik that week.
6-4,
was really-
7-6.
And he also played Monfils, I think, right?
Yeah,
Which was a
later.
good win.
Or earlier, actually. No, later. Yeah, semis. Yeah, maybe semis.
Yeah,
I don't know.
semis.
I guess this is just a joke, Ghosty. That's what I took that as.
It is a joke, and he was looking like John Cena, like, because the guy is
What
just
about-
very wide, right? So
What about Ugo and Bear in Dubai? Did he have anything interesting? I don't remember. If
he
had a-
won Dubai for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the final was like straightforward. I don't think there was
Yeah.
anything. No, there wasn't
Yeah,
really
that
anything
there was-
actually.
there
Oh,
was
there
the
was those
Hurkacz
match point
match,
saves against
right?
Hurkacz. Yeah, match point
Yeah,
saves
he
against
saved like
Hurkacz,
3
but-
match points, but yeah, I don't think I think we have
Yeah.
to skip to Indian Wells. It seems.
Yeah.
Indian Wells then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to mention it, but I don't think either of you are going to back it. Sinner, Alcaraz, no, right? Semi-final.
No. There's
No.
gonna be a better match from Sinner and Carlos, and in fact, there's gonna be an
Of
even better one
Yes.
later in the
They'll-
year. So
Oh, that's
They got
the only.
progressively-
definite off the top of
They
my
got
head.
progressively better.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
There's
the
only-
worst one of the season between them for sure. So let's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on.
Medvedev Paul was fun, but I wouldn't put it on there.
It's a fun second set, and of course, there's also the injury for Tommy,
Yeah.
and like both sets 1 and 3 are dire. So yeah,
Fritz
Yeah,
was also
see,
fun.
again,
That's
it's one of those
something.
matches where the memory of the injured player kind of is the strongest.
it's a fun few
Rather than-
games, but rather than an actual match. Yeah.
Fritz Runa as well, same kind of deal.
Oh
but
yeah,
wouldn't have it.
I think that's a better one, but still not top 5. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miami then? Vanch?
Oh, Miami. Well, I mean, Dimitrov was the biggest story there, really. So his matches against Hurkacz and Tavilo and stuff were dramatic, interesting.
Zverev
I really
as
wouldn't have
well.
it on them. Zverev in the semis, yeah. I
But
just wouldn't
still
pick any
not-
of them, though. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
still
don't
not
think
top 5.
I don't think there was anything there.
Evans Eubanks was pretty good, but again, I
Yeah,
don't think
I
we're
enjoyed
really
Evans
peaking
Eubanks,
it.
but-
There's just better matches that kind of work the same. I think Ghosty likes Musetti against Shelton as well, and it was a really good match. I think it is kind of overlooked because it was just
Mhm.
straights, but the quality of the shot making was fantastic. Still,
Yeah.
probably not top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lance Davis or whatever his
It
name
was
was.
better than the match that followed it.
Was it
between Sterling
Alcaraz
and-
Zverev? What was the match?
Yeah, Alcaraz Zverev.
Okay. Yeah. So Indian Wells then. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the highlight of Indian Wells, I think, and probably certainly on the men's side was indeed that face off between Lance David and
Isn't it
Snead.
interesting? Carlos went 6-0 this year against Sinner and Medvedev, and he went 3-3 against Djokovic and Zverev.
6-0 against Sinner and who?
Sinner and Medvedev.
Yeah.
I mean, the Medvedev bit less so, but yeah. Sinner 3-0 is interesting, yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he can sort of hold on to that stranglehold in the years to come. Because if he can, I think he'll end up winning that particular battle, which will help him probably stay ahead in their slam race, which is already being spoken about. Okay, then I think if there's nothing else from that Sunshine Double,
I'm kind of getting worried. No, actually, okay, there will be the ATP 500 finals. Yeah, okay,
there is one really good match in Madrid.
I think we still have to talk about the clay season earlier, though. I don't know, John, but how about Pedro Martinez beating Casper Ruud?
No, come on.
Incredible bias from two.
It was good, though. It was a good match.
I mean, this is our San Diego.
It was phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, it was a level that I don't think Pedro will ever touch again in his life, to be honest. He was,
honestly,
kept coming back. And
the good thing about doing this episode is we've got people to talk about it, which always helps. But that's not really what we're here for. But I mean, I did think it was amazing. Yeah.
I won't put it in the top 5.
No, maybe you probably need that because I think Ruud was 2 breaks down and gets one of those breaks back. And I thought he was actually going to get the second one back, but in the end, Martinez, I think, served it out. If that suddenly did go to a third set tie break, it was a fun tie break, then I think it might be a more serious consideration. But yeah, it was probably the most fun match that I saw, I guess, at that particular part of the year. Maybe even the whole year. I mean, bearing in mind I was in Buenos Aires and Rio as well.
I think it was pretty amazing, yeah. Pedro saying that he is afraid of the Ruud forehand beforehand, and then he goes into the match and actually he's the one who, has all the weapons that someone has to be afraid of. I don't know. Yeah. I think it was fantastic. Okay, I'm not going to be pushing for it in the top 5. If I was making my personal list, top 20, top 15, yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, we've got some other tournaments here on the list. We've got Marrakesh, of course, which is the same week. We've got Houston as well the same week, and then Monte Carlo. Do we just go straight to Monte Carlo, Vanch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shelton Tiafoe final, but not as good as their US Open match for sure.
Yeah.
No. So Monte Carlo, I think I've already explained why I wouldn't have Sinner Tsitsipas. Wasn't Sinner Rune better than Tsitsipas Sinner anyway?
I think Rune Dimitrov might be better than Sinner.
Rune Dimitrov was the match of the week.
And that might be a maybe for our list, I think.
I think so. I watched the whole thing. It was really good. Like, insane.
It was pretty crazy that Rune, after this 3.5-hour clash, was still able to survive against Sinner at least for two sets.
He troubled him. It was
he did.
Yeah.
And maybe the best maybe the best event that Rune had all season. I understand it's not the same in terms of Cincinnati, the result, and everything. He had the Brisbane final, but just in general, of being back among the top and pushing them. And yeah, I think Rune Dimitrov could be a maybe for our list. I still don't understand how Tsitsipas Sinner made it to number 3. It's just
Indeed. But yes, so Rune versus Dimitrov. Yes, indeed, it was a classic.
Let's put it on the maybe list.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it is. It's there.
Let's do it.
Okay,
let's do
great.
It.
We'll see. I mean, I honestly don't have my top 5 too fixed, so I don't know if it has a shot, but I would like it to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving forward, we've got Barcelona on the ATP tour at this period of the year, and we've got Munich as well and Bucharest. Anything from those 3 tournaments?
Facundo Diaz Acosta versus Stefanos Tsitsipas quarters.
Was gonna give a shout out to that as well.
Yeah, I think if Elena was there, she would really push for it.
But does it come close to Rune Dimi or ahead of?
No, Rune Dimi was better.
Great. So that's it until we get to Madrid. In fact, probably until after Madrid too. I enjoy.
Not Rune in the semis.
Madrid, we have Mute versus Shang, 4 hours.
Yeah,
and a bunch of drama and coffee and spraying of water.
Playing with his hand. Basically, all the weird stuff about Mute and all the crazy shot selection of Shang. I think it is a maybe at least, and
I think so.
I think for now we can kind of just leave it there, and then we're gonna be basically either fighting for it or not later on.
Yep.
It would be good to have one
maybe
for the hipster.
And Ghosty, this is of course a very good joke in general. But
yeah, indeed. Felix versus the walkover.
could be anybody there, like Lehechka retired, right? Medvedev retired.
At one
Are you sure
point,
you don't want to include Medvedev versus Lehechka? 3-all in the first set. Amazing stuff, you know. Retirement.
at one point, Ghosty, I actually thought walkover was going to beat Felix. Okay, joke ticked. Cool. Okay, so anything else from I enjoyed Struff against Alcaraz.
Alcaraz, yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't as probably high quality as the final from the year before, but there we go. I'm just gonna give it a
Definitely not.
mention.
But it was a fun one.
So
Carlos couldn't hit through the forehand, but it kind of made him just
did
have
that
to work
Alcaraz
for it a
Struff
little bit
match?
more.
I think the Alcaraz Struff match got squeezed out last year, and we had a 7.
We were very close to putting it in, that's for sure.
Well,
And
I think we did, but I put it to the poll.
I think the
but
drama was better this year in that match, but the quality was better last year.
John, I
makes
think the poll, the loser of the poll was not Rublev, Rune against.
Rune Rublev made it. If that's
No, Rune Sinner, because I was pushing for Rune Sinner in the Monte Carlo semis. So maybe that was the loser of it.
Oh,
I don't know if we did an episode. I don't think we did an episode on Struff in the end.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we did an episode on that, and I don't think we did an episode on Rune Sinner.
Mm.
Huh.
I think one particular match won the poll, and therefore we did that one. And I think it might have been Rublev against Rune in the final of Monte Carlo. Anyway, that was last year. It's back to this year. Are we done with Madrid?
Yeah. And also, I was on to your question. I think it's safe, as in like it won't kill you, but it would be wrong. So probably don't do that.
I don't even know what you're talking about because I can't see the screen. Is it like eating or drinking?
Is it safe to say that Carlitos' backhand is a better shot than his forehand?
Oh,
no. It won't kill you, but you shouldn't say it. It's wrong. So
yeah. Rome.
That Tsitsipas Zverev final we never got.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think there was anything in Rome, to be honest.
No. Geneva or Lyon? Had obviously Djokovic.
There were a lot of good classics in Rome from Passaro, like literally every single match he played. But again, it's like if we could put a whole run into this list, yes. Individual match, probably not enough.
Rafa, of course, was involved in some exciting.
Geneva did feature the greatest racket smash of Taylor Fritz's career on match point.
Taylor Fritz.
I don't think I know.
No,
when he broke his racket against his knee after he lost to Mickelson.
I don't know it, but
round. But yeah, he did a stand for Rinka, but just a lot more violently.
Stan is really synonymical with that, yeah.
Which match was that? He did it in Geneva, was it?
Yeah. If you watch the match point.
Yeah.
Mickelson's best win so far.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. French Open. Now at least we're going to have a few more.
No shout out for the Lyon final. Pecci Pericard Echeverry.
Oh yeah.
Great first set tiebreak, that's for sure.
Yeah.
About the whole match, great first set. Let's just call it that. Probably not, maybe. But yeah, Roland Garros, it's going to be a discussion. I'm going to go pee, but you guys go ahead, and then I will be back with my...
Sure. So, French Open maybes and maybe even definites off the top of my head would be Sinner Alcaraz semi-final.
Yep.
It would probably make my top 5, but we'll maybe
I think it would.
Yeah.
I think it would make the top 5.
I think, for example, what about Zverev Alcaraz final? Which just quickly, which of those two would you put higher?
The semi.
Okay, yeah, I think I might too, but I did feel a lot of ranging emotions in that final, and
and because the fifth set was a lot closer than the 6-2, at least the first 6 games.
And then after 14, and of course there was a point that got overruled or something that probably shouldn't have done. Yeah. Those two matches anyway, for sure. Djokovic was involved in.
Oh yeah, Djokovic, the Cerundolo and Musetti matches are maybes, I think.
Yeah, Djokovic, Musetti, Djokovic, Cerundolo. Yeah.
I'd have it as a maybe, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then he withdrew, right? Didn't he?
Yeah.
After, yeah. So he actually wins both of those, but they're both.
I guess there was also Greek sports Zverev. I didn't watch the whole thing, but
Rune
obviously there was
Zverev,
a
Rune
comeback,
Koboli. It was an event
Rune-
of a lot of good five setters.
Yeah,
but
Rune Kabuli I
if-
would put in there too, for sure.
I mean, yeah, but if we're talking about
But
like
it's a
what
maybe.
should be on the actual short list,
Then no.
Yeah, exactly. I want the shortlist to be as short as possible.
so just the semi.
Just the
Well, to
semi.
be honest with you, we've got 4 matches that I've written down. Okay.
Okay.
Sinner Alcaraz, Sinner Zverev, Djokovic Musetti, Djokovic Cerundolo. I think we can very quickly ignore one of those 2 Djokovic's ones. Which one we're going to throw out? Musetti or Cerundolo?
I mean, it's not
See-
making the top 5. I don't think either is. So
We
I
are
don't
struggling
think
a
either is
little.
either. I don't think either is either, but the Cerundolo one was significant because of the the knee injury and then the comeback and then it was like one really good diving volley. I mean, it was good,
I think
but
Musetti comes ahead of it. Gene's suggesting that too.
I think Musetti too because the quality was higher. For
if
more
you have to keep one, then let's keep Musetti.
Then
But
keep
I just
Musetti,
don't
yeah.
like the last hour of it.
yeah.
And I also think actually it won't make
But the
it
first
won't-
4 sets were really good, I will say.
It also doesn't beat 1 or 2 matches that are to come. So
Gina actually wants to ignore Musetti. It seems.
okay,
Ignore that one,
I
or
mean,
maybe
I
no.
actually-
I think he's
I am
saying
throwing it.
ignore that one. Okay.
I
Yeah.
am throwing it out as well. I mean, I'm honorable mention if you like, but it's now. I think that's just doesn't come.
Okay, so
ahead of-
what's going on a maybe list from Roland Garros?
Sinner Alcaraz and Sinner Alcaraz Zverev.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
I think we probably both, all 3 of us, agree that one of those will come ahead of the other one. But yeah. Okay. Moving on from Roland Garros, then, unless I'm missing anything.
I don't think we formalized our criteria, Ghosty. Like, it's very different. Like, sometimes it's narrative, sometimes it's quality. Would I go back to watch again? I think it is implied. Like, any match that's going to be in the top 5, according to me, I would go back to watch again.
I think in terms of criteria for this, I don't think we need to sort of get down to it, because I think, how can you say really, for example, if it's kind of obvious that we're probably going to go for a Grand Slam final over a first round in Estoril. If that
Unless
makes sense.
that first round in Estoril is Muteshang, right? The first round in Madrid, like, or Rybakina,
Right, but I mean, if it was tight-
Rybakina Vintova, right?
Last year, I independently put the Wimbledon final ahead of Cincinnati final, and there were 2 reasons for that. One was a Wimbledon final, and the other one was a Cincinnati final, because it really was nip and tuck for many people, and I got that. But there was a second reason, which was just that Cincinnati final took a while to get going, let's say. So I mean, I know Wimbledon first set of those 5 was a bit maybe, but the other 4 were crazy for one reason or another. Whereas Cincinnati, halfway through the second set, we just thought, this was a bit of a blowout. Anyway, so yeah, in answer to your question, Ghostin, the obvious, but nothing set. Okay, do we just move on now to the grass court season, right?
Yeah.
And Stuttgart, Libema Open, Halle.
Draper Berrettini, Stuttgart final. James, where are you?
He did dip into Instagram earlier, but I don't know if he's dipped out again. Yeah. By the way, if we ever get anyone famous or even semi-famous that dip into Instagram, I will let you know. But of course, we'll never top Neil Skupski. So maybe I shouldn't even mention anyone ever again. Cool. Okay, grass court season, Vanch. What are we missing?
Nothing, honestly.
Before Wimbledon, anyway.
Yeah.
I think
Nothing.
no. I don't recall anything. I mean, Mallorca, I was there. I enjoyed Mallorca, but I don't know if I enjoyed
Proof, I guess, but I mean, all of those center matches were very tiebreak heavy, dominant. It was all about center winning.
They
the
were
tiebreaks.
fine, but
They were good
just not
matches.
top 5 contenders.
There were some really good shots from center in that week.
Again,
against
if
Greek sport.
Sinner loses that, it does change that a little bit. So there's a bit of a criteria thing that we've mentioned once or twice before. Yeah, just suddenly something like that, an upset, if you like, rather than the eventual inevitability. Mallorca, Eastbourne, we're going to just get straight to Wimbledon?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if Wimbledon will have one.
No, I don't know either, but it's just a nice juncture to sort of jump to. Tiafoe against Alcaraz.
Yeah, that's the only one I was thinking, really. But
Probably the best shout in there. Yep.
yeah,
It was on
Yeah.
that list for best Grand Slam matches for the on the ATP Tour website at number 4,
Yeah.
I think. Which is,
Although-
I think, fine.
Wimbledon
You
too
know, it was just Grand Slam matches, right? So they
reminds
were
me so much of Federer against Benito in the third round of 2012. Wimbledon. Very
Yeah,
similar.
I mean, same story, really. Yeah.
Okay, and then I think we can move on from Wimbledon then.
So we're not including that as a maybe, or are we including that as a maybe?
I mean, I've
It's a
got
maybe,
it as a
right?
maybe. I've got it as a maybe, but I think
Okay.
it'll lose quite early on.
No,
in
but
that.
that's fine. I think it should be just mentioned, probably.
Nothing
yeah.
happened in Hamburg, so shall we straight go to?
Wait, what about
Ghosty Struff won a clay title this year in Munich. And yes, Hamburg, obviously the final, is going to be a, well, honestly, it could even be a definite.
Yeah, I think it is a definite.
Yes, the final with
it's top 5 of the year
Zverev.
for sure.
Yes.
The
That's-
only thing was, I remember speaking to
there,
one or two of you about this a few months ago, or a couple of months ago, was that Feast was involved in 2 or 3, or at least 2 anyway, that one against Humbert as well. And I like the idea of having a
His
sort
entire Tokyo run, amazing. Like his whole
the
run.
problem is that this is an entire Tokyo run. Neither of these
Yeah.
matches individually is stronger than the Hamburg final, but we will still try to. Well, we'll see if we can fit in any of these later on. But yeah, I think
I'm on board with the
Zverev
Hamburg
as
final being
definite.
maybe even a definite. I think so.
Yeah, no, I've got it as a definite.
That's what we
It's
just said. Yeah,
It's the absolute strongest of all the maybe contenders I think we've discussed so far. So
yeah,
I've put it as a definite because I think we could put it on the maybe list, but I think when we get to chatting about it, we'll just put it onto the definite. So why not put it there now? Okay, Newport and Gustard. There was some Berrettini
Navone versus Nadal. No, maybe.
Oh, that
I
was.
don't think it's a horrible
I think
suggestion.
maybe, right? I would put it as a maybe.
No, it's okay.
I'm okay if you want to. I'm okay if you want to.
Big moment. I would put it.
I probably would push for that one more than Tiafoe Alcaraz, for example. But
I'm game if you're game. So
yeah,
that's
it's
fine.
on the list.
Yeah, it's
and
fine.
it's good that Nadal gets a mention on this show, bearing in mind it was his last year on the tour. At Newport,
There was I guess a Mickelson Giron was good, but no, I wouldn't put it in the. I wouldn't put it in
the comeback of the mighty Riley Opelka.
Yeah.
Gustard in Switzerland, Umar, Croatia, Atlanta.
Gustard was Berrettini won that, right? Yeah, okay. Umag. Oh, Umag, the final was good. Cerundolo and Musetti final was good, but
what are you talking about, Ghosty? By the way, Shang in Paris.
Musetti Cerundolo final was good. I think it was an underrated match. Probably the best, definitely the best ATP 250 match, probably all year actually.
Which one? Sorry.
Musetti Cerundolo, Umag final.
Newport isn't, by the way, Newport isn't a rest in peace. Newport has been upgraded to a Challenger 125. I'm definitely gonna make this joke next year when this event rolls around. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I have written down Musetti Cerundolo from Umag. What about Atlanta, Kitzbühel? I'll even throw Washington into this section before we get to the Olympics.
Yeah, I think like Davidovich Fokina saved 5 match points. No, the other way around. Koboli saved 5 match points against Davidovich Fokina, but it's not top 5. It's not.
Yeah, there's nothing really top 5 there. Even though
from those matches, including Washington. I mean, you were in Washington, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I mean, you had Koboli getting to the final. You beat Shelton in the semi, but it wasn't a top 5 match. You had Bellucci qualifying, going on a run. That was what I remember.
I have to leave the camera for about 60 seconds, but I'm probably going to bring up the most contentious moment of certainly the men's side anyway. And it is, I want you two to at least begin the discussion on this match.
I actually think that we will, of course, do it for the next 60 seconds, but I think we should delay this discussion because even though I'm not a fan of this match and I definitely voted for nothing special, I am fine with, because I see that it's backed by many people. I'm fine with including it as a maybe for now, and then
Oh,
returning.
really? I mean, no, I would still have it as a definite top 5. I just wouldn't have it at number 1. Like some people think it's the best match all year, and I completely don't agree. But I still think
I'm
it's
fine
definitely
with
top
having
5.
it as a definite, as a maybe for now, and then returning to the discussion later. That's
Yeah.
kind of my take for now.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny
It might
because I
make
think
the top 5. Like I'm not saying I'm gonna be like so against it. I just kind of
it's
want
funny
to
because I think most people are probably more where Vanch is, which is Vanch is basically
Yes.
saying, is it top 1 or top 3 or whatever?
Top 5, I think so, but top 1, no.
Yeah.
I
Well,
see
anyway,
how heavily it is backed by literally everybody, so I can't just say now, no, don't put it in the maybe category. No, I think we should basically return to that discussion later. Yes.
Okay, so let's
The
move.
storyline has a lot to do with it. Storyline, narrative, and then also the
It's a phenomenal Djokovic moment,
was-
100%. I'm just not convinced it's a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to that anyway. It's on the maybe list, and that's fine. What tournament or tournaments come? Or anything else in Paris Olympics?
On the men's side, no.
No.
I'm just
Okay.
stupid things coming to mind like Hadi Habib, Carlos Alcaraz, but no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Any
I
Benny
think
Hassan
Francisco Cabral played a singles match, right, as well.
Okay, then let's
Matthew
go.
Upton got 1 game. Nadal went on a run of 4 games at the end against Djokovic.
Yeah, that much. Yeah, sure.
Didn't get 6-1-6 loved.
The last official Djokovic against Nadal. Yeah, no.
What about Canada, Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, there's
Cincinnati the semis. Yeah, Sinners Zverev is a maybe, right? Or definitely a maybe.
Sinners Zverev, yeah. In Cincy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's probably the only one in Cincy.
And Canada? I mean, Popperin.
There were some the Popperin matches, right? I mean, I can't. Maybe the Dimitrov match? No, I don't think. I mean, it had the match point saves, but I don't think the quality was great.
Kind of another one of these, like, amazing run, but amazing individual match. Not really.
What about so I'm just looking at some comments in the chat. What about therefore Winston-Salem? What happened there? I don't really remember.
Lorenzo Sonego peeking out of his mind in the final, and Alex Mickelson almost getting defaulted.
Mickelson, yeah, exactly. Mickelson versus the crowd. Although the crowd went against him, but there was certainly an incident there. But I think that's the only thing I remember about Winston-Salem, to be honest.
Shout out to Leonard Tien as well for getting to the match against Crane Augusta.
The Marozsan match was pretty good, but just not top 5.
Yeah.
The 1 week before a slam, these tournaments are just, I feel very bad for them because the eyes are all on the slam, the qualifiers, the press conferences, the pre-tournament stuff, the will he play, won't he play, is he injured, is he not injured, the practices that we're getting to see as well, and all the ifs, buts, and maybes. And then somewhere in the background is Winston-Salem or Geneva or whatever. And it's why I remember 2 years ago talking to some of the not top dogs, but near top dogs, if you like, in Estoril. And they were like going, oh, we don't like this slot at the beginning. I was like, this is a great slot. You don't want to be where Geneva is, that's for sure. And I don't mean geographically. I have nothing against Western Switzerland. But anyway, US Open. Shelton, Tiafoe. Is it on the 5 or is it on the maybe?
Let's put it on the maybes, right?
I think maybe for now, yeah.
Yeah, we'll think about it later, but yeah, should be a maybe at least. Yeah.
Anything else in New York?
Well, it was famously a pretty horrible event.
The problem is on the men's side, it was not a good tournament.
No.
Every single opponent of Jack Draper. Just
even
like,
the semifinal wasn't great. I love the storyline with Tiafoe and Fritz, one of them making the final, but I didn't think the match itself, unfortunately, no.
It's not as good as Shelton Tiafoe, which is how we can just very quickly put it away, you know?
That's it. I think we can just move on.
I think
and on this, Sally, I agree with you. Like I absolutely hated the
but
final.
Like nothing in the
I knew
first
that I
week,
was gonna
right?
hate it, and I did absolutely hate it.
Oh, Evans Hachinov, maybe that's.
Oh yeah,
that's
sorry, Evans Khachanov. Yes, Ghosty wanted us to mention that. I think my problem with that match is that it was like 5.5 hours, everybody only watched the last 30 minutes, and that's
Yeah.
literally my only
Me
problem.
included.
Exactly.
Me included. I tell you who might have watched a lot more was Eddie, because I think Eddie was there. I don't know if he whether he just joined it the fifth set or whether he was there throughout. I'd love to know, but yeah, pity Eddie wasn't here to sort of let us know. But I think
Oh, Cincinnati! I forgot match of the year, by the way. Nakashima beats 7-6 in the third.
You also
Okay.
didn't mention Nakashima Musetti.
And Nakashima Musetti. Let's go. Fourth set, dude. Okay. Four love down.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah,
I think we can leave North America behind. I think.
If we're really not putting Evans Khachanov in there, then yes.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Not in the top 5 anyway. It's an honourable mention for sure, and very enjoyable that last half an hour. Ghosty watched the whole thing. Ghosty, if you wish to record a video of yourself talking about it for 30 to 60 minutes and send it to me, then I might well have it as a top 6 extended version of this series. But that is
you were
where.
gonna say something about like 30 to 60 seconds and include it in a video of
Oh no!
like one of these compilations. And actually, no. Okay.
Anyway, so where were we? Okay, yeah. So we get to Asia, I guess. Chengdu, Hangzhou, and a bunch of other places that I can't pronounce.
I was just gonna say, like, John Silk teaches you Chinese pronunciation. This is this part of the episode. By the way, I'm not saying mine is better, but
Tokyo is a little easier. That's for sure.
yeah.
And I don't think we're including any Laver Cup matches, please. That's probably a debate. If there was an amazing match at the Laver Cup, oh my goodness me!
People really liked Alcaraz Shelton, but it's obviously just straight 6-4, 6-4.
You just have to go
it's a good
straight
shot making feast, but nothing
Just have
else.
to straight go to Tokyo and Beijing, huh? Beijing final.
I think so.
Well, just before we get to Beijing, anything from Tokyo?
The final,
Well,
right? Feast
yeah, Feast against
which one of the Feast matches, basically, I think is the question. I would like to see at least one of, well, not at least. I would like to see one of them in the maybe category.
Well, Feast
maybe
on
the
Bear,
final, right?
yeah.
Maybe the final over the semi.
This
and
maybe
the
list is
quarter?
so long.
Well, it would have to be Shelton, Rune, or Humbert. If you want it to be Humbert, I'm fine with that.
Humbert, I'm going with
I
Humbert.
would go with Humbert. I would go with the
Okay.
final.
Let's put it on the maybe.
Okay, Beijing. There's one definite. Are we having Sinner Alcaraz Beijing? I think Sinner Alcaraz Beijing is a
It's
definite.
a definite, yeah. It's our second definite, right?
Yep,
I
second
think
definite.
it's even more. I think it's like the best match all year. Actually.
It's the number one. Yeah, it's the number one. There's no
Probably.
conversation. There's no conversation.
Anything else in Beijing?
I mean, Ozan Kabak really wanted me to mention Buyun Chaokete, the famous ethnic Mongolian, so that Ghosty gets a bit of a spike of his blood pressure. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, he played some great matches, obviously. I just don't think either of them belongs in the top 5.
Okay, Shanghai then.
No, right?
I like how much is just like no. Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I'm struggling to remember if there was something insane. Alcaraz Wu, one of the best matches of the season in terms of the level, maybe, but no, it's not top 5 anyway.
Medvedev Arnaldi was kind of entertaining, but no. I don't really
So,
think.
Almaty, Stockholm, Antwerp.
I don't think so.
Vienna, Basel.
Vienna, was there anything good? Vienna.
Basel was just
Draper.
serve botting all around.
So if James was here, he would pick all the Draper matches that week. But
I wonder if you
was actually
dragged
fun.
Draper Jesper de Jong from the Roland Garros opening round in the top 5.
Are we done with the ATP year in terms of the?
Oh my gosh! I mean,
wait! I mean, we're speed running now.
What about Paris? Paris was
stop and think, yeah.
Paris, Humbert. I mean, Humbert again, good week, good run, but you can't single out a single.
And it was fun and fascinating and bit of controversy and stuff. But
which one?
Humbert's run.
The Open match.
I mean, yeah, but there's no like much other than Humbert Alcaraz. But I think we have a better Yeah, we have better matches in maybes.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good.
And then ATP finals, there was only one match, which was the semis.
Yeah,
With
semi
Zverev.
was good. Yeah,
But-
Zverev Fritz. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's really
I
good.
I think as I mentioned, like it was. I liked analyzing it, but it wasn't actually that entertaining. It's just the same
Yeah.
cross-court rally time and time again.
And probably
Hmm.
isn't going to make the top 5. But
No.
yeah, I think
Probably
therefore
not. Although this is a really weak year, so I don't honestly. There's a lot of
2
maybes.
definites, and we've got 10 or 15 maybes. But the 10 or 15 maybes is because we're a little bit
Yeah.
desperate, I think.
And
in a
by the way, we are races towards the next gen finals. There might be a top 5 match coming in the
Yeah.
next gen finals.
Yeah, but isn't it a little bit like Laver Cup? Like you can't really include it. It's.
I think you could. I would be up for including a good Laver Cup match if there was one. Like
Oh, you
Federer
would?
Kyrgios 1 year at Laver Cup, for example. I don't
Oh,
know
I
if
didn't
that's.
think you would. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's.
I would be up for it. Like it's a proper regular ATP Tour event. You know, I'm just
Okay.
using the list, right? So, I think Federer Kyrgios from Laver Cup, like that. You know, a few years back. Of course, they played 3 consecutive Laver Cups, but you know which one I mean.
Yeah.
I would probably put it. Also, Gene says that you guys missed mine, so we wonder what that is. And also, when it comes to the 8 confirmed for Jeddah, that is obviously Basavered, Etienne, Van Asch, Fonseca, Mikkelsen, Menchik, Shank, Fierce. But if Fierce withdraws, it's gonna be
Oh,
Landaluce.
Zverev versus Musetti Vienna was really good. Yeah, that was really good. But I don't think it's.
Zverev versus Musetti or Musetti versus.
I would be okay with including it as a maybe. It was really good.
Wait, okay, but here, Vanch,
This
Zverev
one
versus
was,
Musetti or Musetti versus Surundalo in Umag?
Oh.
So we have that one on the short list. I think neither belongs in the
Hmm.
top 5. That's
No.
what I'm gonna say.
I would root for the Umag final, but I would probably, yeah, and neither is top 5 for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Where was the calendar? Oh yeah, well basically Paris, Bercy, ATP Tour Finals, Belgrade, Metz.
I think we can start cutting.
Yeah, I think we can.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think.
Yep. Okay, so I've got the short list. We've got the definites of Sinner Alcaraz in Beijing and Fils Zverev in Hamburg. They are the 2 definites, and then it's a case of filling out the other 5 spots. If it's really close, I'm fine to put 1 or 2 matches or 3 matches or whatever.
How many maybes do we have?
Oh, dozens. Basically, listen, what about this? Rude Runa in Acapulco or Martinez Rude in Estoril?
No, neither.
Cut both out.
Neither.
I didn't know you had them as maybes.
I did because I was excited.
But I was getting scared for a while that actually we were not going to have enough maybes. So I see that you probably had a similar feeling and started going for them early.
My fear is that we'd have too many, and I think we did. But fortunately, we've trimmed it down. What about? I think we can say goodbye to Tiafoe Alcaraz.
Okay, maybe. But let's keep it for now.
Because
there's some that you can definitely cut out that are worse.
Yes,
so.
I agree with Vanch completely. I'm not sure if it's going to be top 5, but I need to hear the others first. And I think
just quickly look: Sinner Alcaraz. This is French Open, okay? Sinner Alcaraz, Zverev Alcaraz, Tiafoe Alcaraz, Wimbledon. So those 3. If you're going to drop one, it would be Tiafoe Alcaraz.
But let's talk about like what's later, because I think there are some weaker matches later, right?
Maybe, but if you've got those, trust me, there's 1 or 2 stronger ones too.
If we have enough, then yes, let's cut it out. Yes, I'm fine.
Because of those 3, it's the worst one of the 3. I watched all 3 from start to finish.
Debatable with the Roland Garros final, in my opinion, but
Roland Garros final. Yeah,
I would actually probably.
Actually, I would probably get rid of the final. I would probably get rid of Roland Garros final.
I'd get rid of 2 of these and just leave Sinner Alcaraz.
Better shot making.
Zverev Alcaraz, you want to say goodbye to?
Yeah.
It's not top 5.
All right. What about? Really? Because I would put Zverev Alcaraz ahead of Djokovic Alcaraz in Olympics. But okay.
Oh no.
I didn't say I wouldn't.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know what I mean? I mean, I just said that Alcaraz is better.
But yeah, go ahead.
Evans. Okay, here we go. Straight shootout. Evans Hachinov, US Open, or Shelton Tiafoe, US Open.
Shelton Tiafoe stays.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Nadal, Navoni, or Musetti, Cerundolo?
Let's give it to
Nadal,
Nadal.
Navone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's give it to that.
Cool.
Let's
All
give
right.
what?
Hmm?
Sorry?
We're giving it to
What did you say,
Nadal,
Vosh?
Nadal, Navoni.
Okay, give it. Because I didn't know if he said give it or
Not,
get rid of.
not give it like not in the top 5, but like kick
That
out.
Yeah,
the-
but
shootout.
yeah.
okay, I didn't know if you were going for the winner or the loser of this tie. And for me, it's
Oh, okay.
also the winner is Nadal Navone.
We now have 9 matches that ideally we would trim to 3, but we'll see. Let's see if we can put a definite. Can we put a definite onto the list? Shall we? Can we get Sinner Alcaraz French Open on the list?
I think so. I think it should be in the top 5.
I would include it. I would include it. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it at number 3.
I don't see a word where it's not in the top 5. I don't think it's
Yeah.
number 2 or even 3, maybe, but it's
So that's cool. So we've got 8 now, and we need to trim it down to 2.
This will be tough.
Sinner
Djokovic, Alcaraz is
Zverev in Cincinnati. Can we say goodbye to that one?
Let me see.
Not
Are there
quite ready
others
yet.
that are? Yeah, I think
So
there are others.
okay, what about this? Sinner Zverev in Cincinnati or Runa Dimitrov in Monte Carlo?
Oh, it's tough. I actually like Runa Dimitrov more.
But I don't
maybe
think it will make top 5, whereas I think Sinner
know.
Zverev could.
It
It's just
could.
more
you think-
impactful, I guess.
It
It's
is,
the only
yeah.
Sinner Zverev we got all year. It was really nice.
It was good. Yeah.
You
Sinner-
think
I would out of
I think
these
as a
two, I would cut
storyline, I would.
Runa
Okay,
Dimitrov.
fine. As a storyline, yeah. I think as a storyline, I agree.
I like it more, like personally, subjectively. Like of course, all of this is subjective. Like subjectively, I liked Runa Dimitrov more, but I would cut it actually instead of.
I think it
Sinner
was a better
Zverev.
watch, but I would probably cut it. I agree.
so?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're cutting Runa Dimitrov.
Yeah.
Good.
Unfortunately.
So now we're down to 7
Right.
into 2. Those 7, by the way, are Medvedev Zverev in Australia, Mute Zhang in Sheng in Madrid, Nadal Navoni.
I think Nadal Navone will have to cut.
Yeah, I think it has to go now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm pleased he got this far in a way. A bit like Nadal himself. Fils Umber is there. Djokovic, Alcaraz, Olympics. We've still got Sinner Zverev on the list, and we've still got Shelton Tiafoe on the list.
Okay, this
will
is
be
actually
so
got
tough.
really hard. This is really hard.
Yeah, this will be so tough. There is
Listen,
one match.
I would drop, okay? I would drop Djokovic Alcaraz, but I think the weight of opinion is so strong. What I also think is, by the way, just let's tell you what, you know what? I'd be fine because I think it would just win the poll and then I'll be fine with it being in.
It's going to be like 95-5 if you put out a poll.
There's
It's
no
gonna
point
be-
making a poll, yeah, because
Yeah,
you know that
no.
the result is going to be that. But I agree that, like, even though, well, that's why I still wanted to have it in the conversation, even though I don't necessarily like it because, again, the opinion of the people is like really huge with this one. However, like, I don't know, like we have to put this and Mutashang for me. Like that's kind of where I stand right now. But it's so tough to actually get rid of all the other matches. I think we have to say goodbye to Fils Umber.
Yeah. Fils Umber would say goodbye.
We have a
because
better.
we already have the better
final Hamburg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a better 500 final from him. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be fine with that. And I think Umber will be fine with us not talking about that match ever again. Sinner Zverev, semi-final of Cincinnati.
But is that better than Medvedev Zverev? That's the question I have, because Medvedev Zverev, Australia semis, maybe I would put ahead of the Sinner.
To me, no. But actually, I'm also in favor of cutting both at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with losing Medvedev Zverev in Australia. Okay. I mean, probably wouldn't have had it on my list in the first place.
Yeah, fine. Yeah,
I haven't quite cut. I think I know our 5, although I feel a bit bad for Shelton Tiafoe.
What's the top 5 then?
Well, Sinner Alcaraz, Beijing, Sinner Alcaraz, French Open, Fils Zverev, Hamburg. Then probably
I would actually put Fils Zverev ahead of Ahead of Sinner, Alcaraz, Roland Garros.
We're not worrying about that right now. Although
Oh,
I
okay,
think
No
okay,
order.
okay.
Just,
on
Oh,
opinion.
it's not the
Yeah.
order. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying whatever. The
And then-
problem is I think Mutesh Sheng is ahead of Djokovic Alcaraz, and then
So
if
we're
we did
putting
do,
both. So we're just getting both in. I think
I
so.
guess so.
Oh, we're
which
getting Mate Shangen. Okay, sweet.
yeah,
Along with
yeah.
Djokovic Alcaraz, the Olympics.
Yeah, I think
Again,
I'm good with
I'm
that.
not a fan of that selection. I don't want to be on the episode, but it probably should be given like the general consensus. Yeah. And I know I said so what when the WTA final was discussed when Vanch suggested that like everybody wants it in. Here, I think it's even stronger. I can't really
Yeah, it's
tell
stronger.
everybody that no,
Yeah.
you're insane, you're wrong.
Me
It
too.
shouldn't
Me
be
too.
there.
Because the
Let's have it
weight
in
of
there, yeah.
the weight of significance in tennis history of that other one is just incomparable, and the
Yes,
weight of opinion is
100%.
stronger for that Djokovic Alcaraz, I think, as well.
And by the way, if you didn't want to include Mutesh Shank, which actually it seems like both of you are, I'm kind of surprised because
I
I thought
just
I was
so
going to have
disagree
to
with the
fight
people who
for
say
it.
it's. I just so disagree with the people who say it's number one when the tie breaks are 7-3,
Yeah, I
7-2, and it's just no.
Obviously,
Mutesh
Shang,
Shang, okay, yeah.
But no, I mean, Vansh is talking about the Djokovic Alcaraz final. But
Oh, I
Mutesh Shank,
see.
like I was expecting that I was going to have to fight for Mutesh Shank, and it seems like both of you actually want to include it. So if that's kind of the combo deal that I'm getting, that we are including the Olympics final plus that, I think I'm very okay with this.
Yeah. I feel a bit bad for Shelton Tiafoe, but
There was something else on that list that I was kind of regretting. I don't remember.
Medvedev, Zverev, Australian Open semi-final.
Maybe
Sinner, Zverev,
that.
Cincinnati.
I think that one is
Yeah,
a bit of a
maybe
shame.
that
I would
was
put
the
because I
Zverev
think I
one,
would
like,
put that ahead of the Cincinnati one, but then we ended up cutting
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, like Gene says, like I kind of wanted Medvedev Zverev to be in there,
I think
but I
Medvedev
just
deserves
don't
one here
know.
because of all those epics in Australia. Like that was such an amazing run, even though he lost the final. But yeah, maybe we'll have that as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I just don't know what we could actually throw out of the top 5 in order to fit it in, and I don't see an
I mean,
option.
ideally, if
Again,
we were
myself, Olympics,
if you,
but
yeah.
what if you cut Mate Shang? Would that be bad?
Yes,
I mean,
I'm prepared to die on that hill. I
did
think
love
for
that one.
something for a match like this, a first round of a
Yeah.
big event to be there.
just
Koski?
just quickly, right? This is
I
a
don't even
very.
remember
I
hearing
think
that.
we are pretty set on our list, but I think this will put the kibosh on certain things and make it sure. If we're fine with the top 3, it's all about 4 and 5.
Yeah.
If I put my 2 suggestions right for this 4 and 5, it would be Mute Shang and Tiafoe Shelton, I think. Okay, that would be my 2 to round out the top 5. It's not going to be the 2, but that would be the 2 that I would have. I think if Damien was to do his 2, it would be Mute Shang and Medvedev, Zverev, Australia, or
I think so. Yeah, that seems reasonable.
yeah, Medvedev, Zverev, Australia, especially with your fancy for 5 sets. And if you were to do your 2, I'm guessing it would be Djokovic, Alcaraz, Olympics.
Wait, no, Djokovic number 2. You mean like match of the year? Like
No.
overall?
This is not about the order.
No, the last 2. The last,
The last 2.
that
Oh,
we're
okay,
looking for.
okay. Yeah.
The 2 that are not in the list right now. So Djokovic,
got
Alcaraz,
it.
Olympics would be in your top 5, right?
Yeah, I think it has
Good.
to be.
Yeah. And your second one would be Medvedev, Zverev, Cincinnati, Shelton, Tiafoe, US Open, Mute Shang, Medvedev, Zverev, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to have a 5th match, what would it be from that group that I just mentioned?
It's between Mute Shang and Medvedev Zverev, huh?
Fine. Medvedev, Zverev in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. So what we've got is basically 2.5 votes for Mute Shang, in a way.
Yeah. I think we've got our 5.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I'm
kind of
fine with
weird
it.
that
Fine with the top
it's
5.
kind of
I'm fine.
It's kind of weird that neither me or John actually like want to put Djokovic, Alcaraz in like anywhere close to the top 10 really. However, I think we've explained already why we're
there
totally
will
fine.
be outrage that we don't put it at 1, 2, or 3, probably. Although it may yet feature at 1.
It's already going to get a lot of outrage if
I
it's
mean,
where
it
it's
can't
at,
feature
but
in the
that's
top
fine.
2. I think if someone puts it at 3, like.
Okay, but I'm really curious.
but
What would
I
you
would
guys
be
have as
okay
number
with
2?
it.
Because number 1 is very clear cut, but then after that,
I think
Yeah,
number 2
1.
is feels Zverev.
Yeah,
okay,
probably.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I would probably go for that too.
Yeah. I haven't quite decided how we're going to do the top 5 in the end, but we might do it in the WhatsApp chat. Might do that. Might do some. I'm not going to put Alcaraz and Djokovic to the vote because it's just like, yeah.
Well, in our chat, you maybe could, but
Yeah, in our
like
chat, yeah.
general
No, in our
opinion, it's clear that it would win against pretty much almost anything else.
The
Maybe
storyline and
between
narrative
five.
really biases that match a lot. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a phenomenal Djokovic moment. I'm just not really buying it being the top 5 one of the top 5 matches of the year. But again, I see how people treat it. It should be in the top 5 for that reason.
We have our 5 matches this year, both on the women's and the men's side, after 2 hours and 15 minutes. Actually, it was probably pushing 2 hours last year on the Twitter Spaces, but maybe felt like a bit less. But our 5 matches are in no particular order right now, but they will be very much detailed in episodes to come with various people from the Talking Tennis panel and maybe elsewhere. Kerber against Zheng at the Paris Olympics, Blinkova Rybakina in Australia, Vekic Paulini, Wimbledon semi-final, Osaka, Swiatek, French Open, Sabalenka, Swiatek, Madrid final. And on the ATP side, we have Alcaraz Djokovic at the Paris Olympics, Mute Sheng from Madrid, Sinner Alcaraz get 2 mentions, one in Beijing and one in Roland Garros, and the Hamburg final between Artur Fils and Alexander Zverev.
You are kind of dreaming with that Giron thing, Ghosty. I mean, Mute Shang, first of all, is 4 hours. You have Mute on the other side of the net to Shang, so you basically have 2 guys who are like kind of crazy in the head in different ways. Yeah, I mean, it's not comparable.
One thing I forgot to say about
Ghosty, I've already said I would have Tiafoe Shelton in my 5, but
yeah,
that's okay.
One thing I forgot to say is I think Damien brought this up, that the Olympics, the year-end championship final of the WTA, is like similar to the Olympics match with the ATP in the sense like the public opinion is so strong for it. And
I don't think the public opinion.
I think it's the storyline. I think it's the storyline and narrative also for the Coco thing, like the Coco Renaissance after the US Open and the coaching change.
This is a very American perspective.
That's probably what it is.
That's one thing, and also I think John already mentioned that like the historical.
You'll mostly get people like Pam Shriver, Renee Stubbs, and like all the American commentators. Like they would really push for it.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it's an American perspective, and also
but
John
they're
mentioned
powerful
it already,
people.
But the historical importance is so different. Like Novak Djokovic winning the Olympics after trying to do it his entire career against.
Coco no. I just mean in the context of the other matches that we had on the list.
A throwaway.
Like if I were to put a poll right now between like the tiebreak, the Rybakina Blinkova or the Shang Goff, I think I'd know which one would win easily. Like it's.
Yeah, we said it already during the show that like there's no sense putting it into a poll because the public opinion is so strong for it that we already know what the result is. By the way, Benoit Paire lost in 37 minutes and Bernard Tomic lost in 39. But unfortunately, these matches were not part of the conversation as they both happened on the Challenger Tour. However, I might be doing a list of best Challenger matches of the season later in the off-season, and I will not include these 2.
We could do one of just trash matches as well,
Trash matches of the season.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Swiatek winning in half an hour in Paris, I think, wasn't there one she did in
40 minutes, against Potapova.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Lord Bernie Tomic as well getting a mention. That's cool. All right, well, I think we are done, and we're done, and it's probably the right time because it looks like Stefanos Tsitsipas is going live with Serena Williams right now. So they might just trump us in terms of star quality. And someone called Wyn, W-Y-N. I don't know who that is.
Who is that?
Also, Belinda Bencic is going live against Patricia Mariatig in Angers, so definitely recommended watching today.
All right. Well, we're done. We've got our 5. We'll reveal the order very, very soon. And then those episodes will be coming at you thick and fast in December. Well, we're already in December. So yeah, thanks. And that was was something. Vanch will go, that was fun. That's Vanch's line. That was fun.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's one of the longest live episodes I think we've ever done that haven't been a watch along for sure, if not the
Is
longest.
there a match that we picked that was shorter than the length of this show? Probably not.
More like, what about the Olympic final?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it was
no,
like
there
2.5
was almost 3 hours.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think we had one, actually. I think all of them were longer than this episode.
Yeah, looking at it just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, big thanks. Do hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're mad and you're angry about our selections, do let us know in the comments section below. And we'll speak to you all sometime soon. Probably more in a pre-recorded fashion than live in the coming weeks. But either way, we won't be far away. Cheers, everybody. And you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.